Greetings, everyone. Hold on, let me get my IG together. hmm Greetings. Hey, Missy, how's it going? Okay. Uh-huh. Yes, how's it going? Yes, how's it going? Yes, how's it going? Uh-huh. I got so much I want to talk to y'all about this. Isn't that always the way though? Don't I always have so much to talk to y'all about these days? So I want to greetings, Frank. Yeah, so I want to take my time because I have a lot that I want to talk to you about, and I want to take my time. For one, I want to do it in a way that everything that I want to address, I am able to clearly communicate that. Greetings, Tasha. Long time no see. Greetings, Bayoni, Missy, everybody in the house. What? Yeah, I want to do it in a way that I am able to at least superficially address everything that I want to bring up, because in this discussion that I am going to have with you, not only am I going to talk to you because we need to talk, but I'm also, this is going to be a method of study for me to get some things out and documented so I can come back and revisit them later. Um, so I look a whole haggard mess, and I feel a whole haggard mess because I haven't slept in 2 days. Okay. Um, Missy say, "Child, the title. We all about to die. No, we ain't all about to die. That is not what I was trying to communicate at all. It sure wouldn't. Thank you, Nicole, for the donation, baby. Appreciate you. That was not what I was attempting to communicate at all. You feel me? So if that's what you got from the title, it means that you are a primary one that need to be reevaluating your life right now. You feel me? I'm just saying. You need to be reevaluating your life, honey, and how you see in this thing. You feel me? Nikki, thank you, darling. Yeah, you feel me? Missy, you need to be reevaluating your life because you ain't seeing this with the correct lenses. You feel me? You ain't seeing this through the correct lenses. Okay. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll keep that up. Child, I got notes scattered everywhere because, like I told you, there's a lot that I want to talk to you about. But what I want to do first is my name is Cassandra-Floyd. For those that do not know, I am the founder. I'm also known as the daughter of the Fates. I am the founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Let's see. And there is so much that I want to impart in your skull this here evening. You feel me? Um, it's just so much. It's so much. It's so much. It's so much. And I'm gonna tell you, I think the last live that I did might have been a week ago. And then in that live, I said, my vision, which needs to be sooner than later in its fulfillment, you feel me, is that when I go into these deep dives, um, I will have, we will have established a solid, we will have established a solid coven of 13 women, myself included, and we will be able to go into these deep dives together so that it doesn't get one. It's a huge task. It's a huge task to be going into these deep dives. It is. And it's a necessary one. It's not just a huge one. It's a necessary one. And let's see, I'll be of this month, Missy. You'll be in Rome this month on the 22nd. That's like in days. What you going to Rome for? Now I got an attitude. Now I got an attitude. You feel me? Okay, so let's see. It's on my list, that's for sure. I'm just trying to find where I wrote all these notes down. Let's see. Okay. All right. So the first thing I am going to do. Oh wow. I'm happy for you, sister friend. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild time given what we've been talking about the last few months. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is for several weeks now, I've been talking to you guys about this thing that is quickly approaching. Let's see. I told you I got notes everywhere. Everything I can grab, as soon as I can grab it, I'm putting notes on it. Let's see. Oh yes. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we know now. So much. We know that we're in this pretty radical process. I think the last time we talked, I talked pretty at length about our entry into that was on May 4th, our entry into a season of Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, which will be lasting until October 13th. And then that was quickly met with a full moon in Scorpio on the 12th. You feel me? And then we let's see, I think it's I don't want to misquote. Where's my notes? I took a gang of notes last night, not intending to, but like I said, I haven't slept in 2 days, literally 2 days. But while I was working, I'm feeling this massive jewelry order, and while I was up in it, neck deep into that thing, I was watching this I was watching several videos on we talked about it in March, and I'm not going to go deep on it tonight, I don't think, but we talked about the coming our coming entry into the Saturn Neptune conjunction. I talked pretty at length about it, but that happened in March because Neptune transitioned into Aries in March, and Saturn transitioned into Aries this month. And the two were going to be in the same sign, Saturn and Neptune conjunct in Aries until 2039, right? I think that's right. Yeah, 2039. And this so we've all the way up in it, and this is about to impact our lives for a pretty significant period of time. And And so I took, because because it's, new now. What I'm saying? We talked about it in March, but it's obviously something that's coming up again because Saturn is transitioning into Neptune this month. And so I want to discuss it a little bit as it's relevant to so many other things that's happening. This Saturn Neptune conjunction is still happening within the context of Pluto and Aquarius's dance together until 2044, and also right on the back end of Pluto stationing retrograde in Aquarius until October 15th. So it's massively gymongous, enormous, big, fat, giant energy that we have stepped both feet first into. And so I want to talk about it a little bit because I can feel, and I'm sure everybody else can feel, just may not have the language to express what it is they are experiencing. But I am feeling, I'm feeling it big. I'm feeling it big. Yeah, I'm feeling it. And yeah, I'm feeling it. So the reason I bring all of that up is because next week, Tuesday, as a matter of fact, is mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me mark this really quick. The reason I'm mentioning that is because on Tuesday, this is really important for you, Miss Missy, since you're gonna be in Rome at the time. But the reason it's important is because Tuesday represents the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, as issued, facilitated by Constantine, Emperor Constantine of the then Roman Empire. And the reason that this is important is because we have been talking about oh my God, it's so much. Oh, fuck, I can't even look at it all. We've been talking about what is going to be our response to it. And my hope is that I can be oh yeah, thank you. This coming up in the notes I took, but the Gemini new moon happening, I think it's on the 25th. Let me take my notes out. But anyway, so it's a lot happening. And for me, the warning always is with every with every astrologer I check out to get their opinions on the coming big events. For we Geminis, I'm a Gemini rising, Virgo sun, and Capricorn moon, which is obviously big because I'm a Capricorn moon in this big ass event called the Saturn Neptune conjunction, and all the ways that it is going to, and then the fact that we're transitioning very soon, actually on the day after the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, the first Council of Nicaea. The very next day, we are transitioning into Gemini season, which is enormous. We have been talking about this a lot. We have been talking about this a lot. Ever since I went to go see that movie Sinners. And I told you, ever since I went to go, I'd already started doing I'm a September Virgo, right in the middle, September 14th. Um, ever since I'd already started doing a little research on this twin energy, and I think I told you this story about, you know, me not finding out until relatively recently, like 2008. Boy, if you're gonna be over here causing havoc, if you're gonna be over here causing havoc, go now. Go on about your life. Go on about your life. Um, I told you I started studying it a little bit when I started revisiting. Oh, look at you, Missy. When I started having all this, when I got my chart read for the first time, I'd been studying about this twins energy thing with no real frame of reference other than the fact that I have a Gemini ascendant, right? So anyway, and then I go to see centers and start revisiting this twin energy shit that had always been showing up in my life, right? And I have no frame of reference for it because I wasn't paying attention like that. You feel me? And baby, I went to go see centers, and this twin energy shit just started smacking me in the face everywhere I look. Places I'd seen 1,520 times and never even paid attention to it. Like I started rewatching The Discovery of Witches last night because again, that's why I look crazy right now, because I have not slept in 2 days. I have not slept in 48 hours or more now at this point. Boy, I'm not going to pick you up. I'm not going to pick you up. I'm not going to pick you up. And so it again, certain things go by you when you're not checking for it, or when your frontal mind, like your conscious mind, is not like, it's not connecting at the point. I have watched this series, The Discovery of Witches, straight through all 3 seasons. I don't know, 4 times already, because it's good. I know a lot of people got criticisms about it. I have very real and legitimate criticisms about it myself. However, with the way I watch everything is I peer through the obvious, like the obvious stuff. I'm always kind of peering past it. And every time I watch the series, I see something at a deeper level that I didn't see the first 3-4 times I watched the series. So I've been up for the last 48 hours working on this project that I got to get out tomorrow morning. And so even after I get up off of here, I'm still not going to go to sleep. I still am not done. And I'm still not going. Boy, cut it out. Cut it out. You're doing too much. I'm still not going to go to sleep. You feel me? And so I'm almost done. Started from the first episode 2 nights ago, and I'll be done before morning with The Discovery of Witches, right? And I forgot that the girl had twins. I forgot. That Diana had twins. You feel me? I mean, it's just everywhere, right? So this twin energy thing has been coming up. Just all of this stuff, right? I won't digress too long, but this is some of the stuff I'm gonna talk to you about. But I want to say, in preparation for Tuesday, there are some things I'm gonna take my time, because I want to make sure I get to everything and I am not going too deep in one area or another. So I'm gonna try to reel myself back every now and again, because I can go off, even though these quote tangents always connect. It is too easy for me to go too deep into areas that I didn't intend to. Okay, so the name of the title for today's live is Rome is Burning, Israel's Burning. What else did I say? Rome, Israel. What else? Oh, the plantation. You feel me? There's even just this week, these last 2 weeks have been magnanimous because and the South is burning, right? And so just since Pluto went retrograde in Aquarius, this shit is popping the fuck off. You feel me? Somebody emailed me a couple days ago to tell me about what's his name, Tory Lanez getting getting attacked in prison. So for those of you who do not know, greetings everybody that's coming into the room. For those of you that do not know, Tory Lanez is the previously no name rapper that shot Meg Thee Stallion. And after he had already confessed to and crying and apologizing to her and everything, you feel me? Then he want to go on a redemption tour to try to save face or save his name before going to trial. So in order to redeem himself, he had internalized that he got to come out the gate attacking her now, attacking her character and attacking her and threatening her and harassing her and winning all these bum ass Negroes to a pro violence against Black women campaign that everybody just jumped on board with or whatever. And he shot this woman, and he intended to. And he not only did he intend to, he was aiming for what in his mind he perceived was the part of the basis for her success, which was her feat, was to attempt to destroy her career by shooting her in the feet. And he didn't shoot once, pow, 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 right? And going on stage and doing music videos with a prop, a studio prop that looks like the leg of a horse, that he's got a meat cleaver, and he's dressed like what you call them dudes that be in the shops processing the meat, like one of them dudes with a meat cleaver hacking at the leg as a metaphor for this violence against Meg Thee Stallion. You feel me? Yes, that's exactly what it is, Vayon. Man, cut it out. Cut it out. Go on back over there. And so somebody reached out to me about that. You feel me? And then this dude gets attacked in prison. And I forget, I forget how many times. I think they said like 32 times this kid was stabbed with a shank in prison. You know what I'm saying? It's just there's 14 times. Thank you, Tajali. There's so much happening, and I just want to help y'all keep your mind right. I want to help you keep your mind right. Those of you who missed it I think it was last week or the week before last, when I did that long ass live on the Pluto retrograde and Aquarius, and how frustrated I was because everybody was saying the same old dumbass shit. You just have to go inside. You have to go inside yourself. You just have to release what was it that which does not serve you and all that shit. As we're entering into the hottest season of the month, as we're entering into the elemental season that represents the emperor, the heart chakra, the heart in Chinese medicine, that represents the director of our entire life, the director of our destiny, the heart. And people are telling you to be a coward, because that's essentially what they're saying. Just go inside, just turn within, just retreat. In the season of the year where you are supposed to be your most active. You're supposed to be your most active, right? And so when I started seeing this shit and hearing this shit, I was like, oh no, like my spirit was harassed. Like, we in the spring right now, transitioning into not just the spring season, we just transitioned into the sign of Taurus. The sign of Taurus, which isn't just active. Taurus is like, can y'all create some shit? Can we play in the mud and make some pottery? Like, can we decorate our apartment? Can we move some furniture around and get this chi flowing up in this bitch? Right? Can we turn on some loud music that, even though it's so loud, typically our neighbors would be mad, but the music is so good, they like, damn, I can't even be mad. That music is good. Can we just have the good energy flowing as we transition into this next season, the summer season, which guarantees so much abundant energy that needs to be used, that needs to be harnessed in a good way, or else the opposing thing is going to happen. And baby, they ain't waste no time. As soon as this Pluto retrograde went down, pop, 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 pop. The whole year has been that way. But you can tell, you can see these sharpening of this shock and awe campaign that this administration has been launching and promised to. It wasn't even like they was trying to hide the shit. They know who you are. They know how y'all be. They know how easily, quote, triggered y'all are. And so for the last 3 months, as a matter of fact, since the day Trump got elected, what were they like a goddamn mantra on TV every time you turn around? I'm telling you, this thing is going to be radical. We are going to be initiating a shock and awe campaign like you've never seen. They said it butt naked and in full effect. And y'all was acting brand new when Trump got inaugurated and did exactly what he had been promising he was going to do for 3 months. He told you what his intentions were, and y'all still act brand new, shocked and surprised by his entry into this position. You feel me? And your emotions are your emotions are the currency of the age. You feel me? And this is why I think it was 2 weeks ago I started teaching you guys very minimally, because I was talking about a whole bunch of other shit. I started teaching you guys about, what did I call it? I called it what did I call it? I called it fuck. I called it I forget, something to the effect of how your body is conditioned to betray itself, the dark side of fight or flight, something to that effect, right? And I'm working on finishing it, but baby, you know what I need? I need about 4-5 women to come to my house about 3-4 days a week. You feel me? And me teach them directly, and then take a homework assignments of things that we need to research collectively and organize strategically, so it's not my random notes scattered all over the place and in 15-20 different books. You feel me? Because there's a breakthrough. That's what I'm experiencing. There is a breakthrough, child. Like, we right on the precipice of a collective fucking breakthrough. I feel that shit. And so that will be coming, the fight or flight thing, but along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And then the reason I'm getting into this is because we're transitioning into the heart season on the summer solstice, which is June 20th this year. You feel me? And the thing about, and I talked to you guys about this last summer when I taught you guys about the heart season, the summer season, as a representation of the energy of the heart element. And the impact, the potential impact that these elements tend to have on your actual very real material life if you are not prepared and don't know how to transition from one season to the next. Okay. And so one of the things that is, especially growing up in the South, or if you're up in like the Northeast, you feel me, where it get crazy cold in the winter and crazy hot in the summer. And you can see in real time the impact that these seasonal changes, I'm talking about the actual weather, the seasonal changes have on your organs, and your organs expressing this difficulty in these extreme seasons in a myriad of ways. In the South, where I am from, especially in Florida, I've heard it a lot. I've heard it from people in New York. I've heard it from brothers and sisters in Chicago, that once the weather get hot, people get shot. That's the thing. Once the weather get hot, niggas start shooting. Like, these are the kind of, quote, cultural expressions that we have with no frame of reference about why that happens. The heart governs the shin. The shin is both your conscious and subconscious mind. It is said that the energy of the heart at night houses the shin, because the shin is the most yang part of your body. It's the most hot, it's the most yang, it's the fastest moving, right? It's the most yang area of the body. And so the heart has to be healthy enough and balanced enough to provide shelter for the shin when it is time to go to sleep. So when it's time to go to sleep, it is said that the heart, or the emperor, houses the shin so that you can get a deep and restful sleep. But if your heart is disturbed, if something is happening with your heart, aka too much fire, because it's hot as hell outside, because it's 110 degrees index at the peak of the summer, you feel me? Like, if it's too hot outside and you do not tailor your diet and activity and behavior to compensate for this increase in heat, meaning eating seasonally, like melons, you feel me? You eat melons in the summer because it's a natural way to counteract the environmental heat so that it doesn't create internal heat. You feel me? Drinking, that's why the Mexicans be drinking, what do they call them? They call them frescas. They be making these frescas, you feel me? And the frescas are like watermelon, where they juice the watermelon, or they'll make cucumber frescas or hibiscus frescas. They'll make all of these beautiful, basically like water juice drinks, you feel me? That provide enough internal cool, internal nutrition, and the electrolytes that bottled water does not have, right? So that you don't become overheated or dehydrated in the summer. You can go on any street street corner, and they'll be selling these big old jugs where you get a big old fresca, you feel me, or whatever. So when you do not pivot because you don't know cyclically, you don't have a relationship with the earth, so you don't eat cyclically, you don't move cyclically, you don't do anything cyclically, you just eat the same old way all year long, you feel me? Then you succumb to especially environmental extremes like those that exist in the winter and the summer. And because the heart houses the mind, the mind, our what we call, quote, mental illness, our psychological presentation is directly tied to the health of the heart. And so if in the summer season, the peak of the heart season, you are exposed to too much heat, too much fire, right? Then it will show as uncharacteristic behavior in terms of mental instability. So in the summer, in the hood, you feel me, where it's hot and maybe your AC done broke down and you ain't got enough money to contact the AC man, or you live in a slum where the slumlord don't provide no AC, or whatever the situation is. In the summer, when it is hot and there is no cyclical way that you counteract the heat's impact on your body and your organs, that's why people, because like sharp, any diagnosable psychological condition in the Western world is an expression of some disharmony in the heart. In Chinese medicine, that disharmony is treated with acupuncture, herbs, and diet. You feel me? And so, so psychopathy, sociopathy, it doesn't matter the diagnosable disease, baby. These represent every psychological condition. This is traditional Chinese medicine. So don't be going and telling your psychologist or your psychiatrist, well, I heard this woman say that, I ain't got bipolar disorder, I just need some heart medicine. Or what? Don't do that. You feel me? I'm talking to you from the perspective of traditional Chinese medicine and what the theory says about because what do we say up in here? Mommy and I are one, about how our body having an intimate relationship with the planet that gave birth to us, and then we do not move in cyclical harmony with our mother. This is how we become ill, is because we do not know culturally or whatever how to adjust cyclically to the changes that we experience in the environment. And then it shows up in our actual flesh and our behavior in all of these ways. Okay. And so the heart entering in, and so the heart culturally, wasn't gonna talk about this, but I'm gonna try to make it quick. The heart culturally and in stories and all of this shit and astrology, right? The heart is the lion, right? The heart is the emperor, aka Chinese medicine. The heart is the lion. The heart is your Jesus. The heart chakra represents what? Again, the horizon. The heart chakra represents the horizon, the separation, our perceived separation of heaven and earth. And all the chakras below the heart represent the earth and all of those things that exist on the earth. You feel me? And all of those chakras above the heart represent heaven, represent your heavenly chakras. So you got the emperor, you got the lion, you got all of these things, you feel me, that are a representation to give you some insight about how your body, it has a direct relationship to everything that you see. Okay, so too much heat on the heart can cause particularly outbursts, unexplained outbursts of rage. You feel me? Anger, because not only is your heart in this relationship, we're in the spring season, which is the mother of the heart. The spring season, which is the liver, is the mother to the heart. And so if you have not been taking care of your liver in the liver season, giving her dark leafy greens, nice beets on your salad, you feel me? Trying to calm the wind by nourishing the blood, you feel me? Like all of these things that the liver loves. Plenty of water, you feel me? So that the extensions, the leaves are green and lush, you feel me? If you have not been taking care of your liver in the liver season, then, and this is the heart's mother, then the heart has the potential to already suffer because it has not been nourished for a season by its mother. And then you transition into the heart season and don't give the heart what it needs. So it's doubly weak. It's doubly agitated. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, these metaphors are important because as the lion, astrologically, the heart as Leo, the lion, is represented in a healthy state, in a healthy place, represents courage, represents nobility, represents leadership, not as authoritarian or hierarchical, represents the kind of leader that sees his relationship with those that he leads as reciprocal. He sees his relation, even as he is leading, he is self-accountable to his people. And in return, they issue him trust. They say, we believe in you because your character has demonstrated that we can trust you with our lives. We can trust your leadership and direction for us. Leadership, providing leadership from below. You feel me? And so this is the healthy presentation of Leo the lion. The tendency, which we see everywhere, we see all the time. This is relevant to what we're going to talk about today. This is relevant. I'm so glad because I started to, but it's relevant. We see this everywhere. So what do we say about Leos that are not, quote, balanced? If they ain't balanced, what is a Leo? Who they is? What they be like? Understand? What they be like. I have a lot of Leo characteristics because both my parents are Leos. As a matter of fact, my parents were born, I've told y'all a million times, both my parents were born less than 24 hours apart in the same hospital. You feel me? 3 of my 4 grandparents are Leos. You feel me? So even as I am a Virgo, I am frequently told that, or people guess, oh, you a Leo. No, I ain't a Leo. I ain't a Leo. Don't even have it in my top 3. You feel me? It is because I've always had extremely hot relationships. My parents are both Leos. My daughter is an Aries. My grandson is an Aries. My ex-husband is an Aries. My ex-fiance is a Leo. You feel me? So I always attracted hot energy for a reason. And I done told y'all, I mean, as at war as I had been with these two particular signs in my life all the time, even before I was aware of like the impact of astrology, I was like, damn, how I'm attracting all these damn Leos and these Aries. Is like, what's that about? And it wasn't until I stopped going to war with those things that made me uncomfortable with these two signs that I realized that the energy that both of them have, which is that like audacity, that courage, that like that action, right, was what I needed. And so anyway, so the reason I'm talking about Leo and the heart is because what y'all was just saying, somebody said, what is a Leo if they ain't in balance? They an egomaniac, they a tyrant. You understand? They can be murderers. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of Leos, y'all. I know a lot of Leos. And as far as I'm concerned, egomaniac is being kind, is being real you're being real gentle. You're being real, you're protecting somebody's feelings, you feel me? So it's interesting because I was talking to you about the heart, but also about the energy of the heart. It's interesting that even though them Christians say that Jesus was born, you know what I'm saying, on December 25th, you feel me? And that he was born in the spring, you feel me? He was no, that he was resurrected, he was reborn in the spring. Isn't it interesting that the whole Lion of Judah thing, all the lion in symbolism. Remember that show? What was the name of it? The Chronicles of Narnia, and how the lion was supposed to be a metaphor. His whole story in Chronicles of Narnia was supposed to be a metaphor for the death, the sacrificial death of Jesus, and then his resurrection. You feel me? The lion was Jesus. You feel me? And so the reason that this is so important, I'm getting chills everywhere, child, every fucking where, because we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention. Ooh, we have to pay attention. One, I was talking to you about your heart. You feel me? And my frustration with all of these freaking goddamn motherfucking astrologers telling y'all ass to stay inside and to turn within and to retreat and shit, while Pluto in Aquarius, both these hot ass radically moving signs, great revolutionaries, is telling you to get outside and stage a motherfucking contest, bitch. Get outside and stage a contest. As we are entering into the hot season. The hot season. Because they not only telling you get outside and stage a contest, they telling you be innovative in that shit. You feel me? Because what? Both of them, Oya and Shango, right? Pluto in Aquarius, both of them are dancers. Shango is the lord of the drum, right? He wear his red and white, and he get out there and he's like, and beating the drum, and he's like, oh, that's my shit. Yeah. He loved to wrestle. But it's like the flair of fighting, like the joy in fighting, like celebrating in war, like you already won, like that kind of cocky confidence. That's him. Like, bitch, is a rap. They ain't even no contest, bitch. Let's go. Right? Oh yeah, she's like, baby, hold on, let me fling my skirt. We need a few tornadoes to assist. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You feel me? This is what they do. This is what they do. They're not just, quote, warrior deities. I want to talk to y'all about so much tonight, god damn it. They're not just warrior deities. You understand? They are innovative in the acquisition, in their ambitious acquisition of success, of victory, right? That's what, because let me tell you, remember, I got so much to tell you, I swear to God. Remember, I was telling you something maybe last week. I think it was like the last live I did. I have to find the scripture. Somebody can probably Google it while we up on here. But there's a scripture. I don't know where it is, but it's something to the effect of the adversary is the author of all confusion. Remember that? I talk about that a lot. The adversary, it doesn't say the devil. It doesn't say Satan. It doesn't say Lucifer. It says the adversary. The adversary is the author of all confusion, right? and how I'm always talking about how we have been involved in this process, this project, most in its most recent personification, known as the United States of America, as we just transitioned out of America's First Pluto Returns, that we have been involved in this process with the United States of America since 1776, which is its official birth, its official chart date. But even what do you call it? The impregnation, the insemination of America. Them motherfuckers come across the water and planting their seeds on the land, on indigenous land in the Western Hemisphere. You feel me? That's them on them boats crossing the Atlantic. That's their little swimmers. That's the little sperm swimming to try to plant their seeds. And then they dock their boats in North and South America and start planting seeds through what? Through brigandage, through bloodshed and shit, right? And so they plant their little selves over here. And then the gestational period, right, that includes the genocide of indigenous people and the enslavement of enslaved African people, you feel me, is the gestation. That's the gestational period, right? And so when you have the birth at 1776, this thing had already been baptized in a ton of blood. In a ton of blood. You feel me? And in this process of giving birth to itself, our belief in it, you understand what I'm telling you? Through songs and pretty words and promises and scriptures, like the Constitution is a scripture. It's a sacred document, like the Bible. You feel me? Through the what you call it, the Declaration of Independence is scripture. You understand? What's the other one? The Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Oh, the Bill of Rights. This is sacred. This is sacred scripture. Why am I saying this is sacred scripture? Because what we have been enthusiastically giving blood to is our participation in the creation of a Godhead. That's what we've been engaged in. We have been engaged, perpetually one to our own destruction by giving life, limb, blood, energy, sweat, tears, all the things to feed a Godhead of war. To feed a Godhead of war. The United States of America is a Godhead of war. Its survival requires perpetual war. What does the Bible say about the end of days? That there would be wars and rumors of wars. Well, goddamn, they get you caught up on some mythological new world order somewhere down the line. The new world order began with them little swimmers coming across the Atlantic Ocean to the new world. It's in your face. To the new world, to erect a new economic system that for the first time in the history of the globe had been linked the globe over. The consecration of the Godhead of America is a war god that was given birth to in 1492. You feel me? It became pregnant in 1492, given birth to in 1776, and we have been the perpetual food for this bitch ever since. Because why? There have been wars and rumors of wars unending since its inception. Since its inception. You feel me? So you always brooding and shit about your Bible talking about wars and rumors of wars, the signs of the end. Honey, the signs of the end have been perpetual and unending since 1492. Just giving you a word right now. The new world order we have been living in since the first European set foot in the Western Hemisphere. You feel me? And probably longer than that, but we'll just keep it simple for this discussion. And the reason I'm saying that, I'm prefacing slowly and methodically about the creation of a Godhead that is a God of war, is because I went to go, well, let me see if I can find my notes. If not, I'll just tell you off my head. But I went to go take some notes a couple of days ago, and I was like, you know what? I've been talking about this a lot. Let me just find out what the actual etymology for the word war is. Let's just find out. Let's just find out what the etymology of the word war is. The word war etymologically means to confuse, to mix up. What did I say was in the Bible? Somebody look up that scripture. That the adversary is the author of all confusion. The adversary is the author of all confusion. What is the etymological, the Indo-European etymological essence or origin of the word war? It's word wears, W-E-R-S, means to confuse, to mix up. In Germanic, it means confusion, and then it later became to bring into confusion, to bring into confusion. This shit is right in your face. A warhead, the word warhead came into the human lexicon in 1898, at the turn of the century. 1898 is when they came up with the word warhead, which was supposed to identify, quote, the explosive part of a torpedo, but it's there in your face. I just said America is a godhead of war. Here you got the instrument, his penis, his phallus, his phallic representation of his power is a warhead. And there's right in your face, hidden in plain sight all the time. People think I'm crazy. America is a war god. It is a godhead. So why do I say godhead? When you read about, like, if you were to Google right now, what is a godhead? The only like for the whole first 2-3 pages, the only thing you're going to see is references to the Catholic Church. When you see Godhead or Godhead creation, you have to search deep, because typically the only thing that you're going to find is in reference to the Catholic Church, the Godhead, the concept of the Godhead. But the Godhead and this concept of the creation of the Godhead is much, 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 much older than the Catholic Church. It is actually a goddess society concept. This recognition that when groups of people come together, right, in ceremony, whether that's dancing around the fire, whether that's singing together, whether it's a bunch of, quote, hands, it's a bunch of, quote, women in a knitting circle. This was considered ceremony in goddess worshiping societies. And when any group of people, 3 or more, come together in a space, there was this recognition throughout many cultures that something happens. That's thank you so much, yours truly. First, let me write that down. First Corinthians 14:33. First Corinthians 14:33. The author, the adversary being the author of confusion. And then I'm telling you, the primary instrument of the Godhead you have helped create in this age is a Godhead of war right there in your face. What is war? Confusion, to mix up, to cause confusion, to bring into confusion. Since we was talking about it, because all your astrologers been telling your ass to go inside in the height of the spring season and coming into the summer season, you feel me? Take your ass inside. What does retreat mean? It means to withdraw, to go under, to take a step backwards, to draw back. The Hebrew meaning of the word retreat is fascinating. To retreat in Hebrew means to speak or to arrange. Isn't that something? That's why I told you I got on this thing about, after I've just Googled the etymology, I go specifically to the Hebrew etymology, because that shit is an orchestration. Okay. So then I said, okay, no more retreats. Okay. Why did I say no more retreats? Because the word advance means to improve, to further the development of, to go before or raise up higher than the others, to move forward in a purposeful way, to set forward. That's what advance means. You feel me? And I was talking to you guys last week in this thing in my introduction about the dark side of fight or flight and how people be using retreats to bypass the necessary opposite reaction to this thing that has caused you stress or fear. You feel me? And so you try to bypass because your body prepares you through this flood of hormones and neurotransmitters to be able to survive an extraordinary response to something that is threatening your life, right? And so it's going to help blunt your muscles. That's why you be seeing movies, a motherfucker get stabbed and he still fight for like 5 hours and he don't feel the pain until the threat is over and the hormones have ebbed. You feel me? And so, but what has happened in this society, and it is deliberate, we have been conditioned to bypass or sidestep the necessary required intensity of action to make sure that our those hormones are balanced before going into or entering into rest and digest and feed and breathe, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because advance is what would help to normalize that, right? But we have been conditioned primarily through politics. We have been fucking manipulated primarily through respectability politics to turn the other cheek, to take one for the team, to pray for your enemies, through that's not the correct response. An eye for an eye leads the whole world blind. Revenge is not of the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. It ain't your responsibility to seek vengeance. Vengeance is only for the Lord. You feel me? What else? I got that's what got me on that shit last week, was how many motherfuckers was volunteering to me for whatever reason and whatever energy was happening that one week. How many men came up to me in a week, not asked? It was so weird and random how this shit happened 3 times last week or whatever. Men volunteering to me that they are pacifists. Pacifism. Pacifism is a manipulation to deny you the right to adequately and equally respond to that which you perceive is threatening your right to exist. You understand? What else? Oh, when I got on that thing about how when it was like the Montgomery Mollywop, or when the dude had the confrontation with the dude in Manhattan, you feel me? And everybody was saying the same thing like a mantra, y'all. Like a mantra. I don't condone violence, but I don't condone violence, but I don't condone violence, but meanwhile, what you are talking about is quote violence is the person who didn't see a way out. You don't call the CEO who is directly responsible for 43,000 deaths a year. You don't see that as violence. That's just his job. You feel me? That's just what it was his job. It was just what he was supposed to do. Meanwhile, I don't condone violence, but because in your mind, revenge, vengeance, divine justice, you equate with reactionary, rabid state violence. You make them things the same. Meanwhile, you are perpetually granting absolution to the state for its violence while attempting to shame those who feel like they do not have a way out or any other language to communicate. Your ass got to pay. You understand? And so these freaking astrologers, in the height of a revolutionary season, Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, telling you to stay inside, to retreat, to turn in on yourself, as if that has not. Child, I have got a word up in this fucking place today. To turn in on yourself, to go deeper into your shadow work. Bitch, how many times you gonna go into your shadow before you learn any lesson that emboldens you to go out there now and take some action? Now that you done got real up close and friendly with your shadow for fucking 20 years, you understand? Every time you turn around, some bitch telling you, just, you gotta do deeper shadow work. To what end? For what outcome? What is your goal, bitch, in doing shadow work? What is it you trying to accomplish in facing your shadow, unearthing your shadow, shining the light on your shadow, allowing your shadow to take center stage for a motherfucking change? You ain't trying to do no shadow work, because if you was really trying to do some shadow work, what would happen naturally for that entity, that part of yourself, that little internal baby who has been imprisoned inside your goddamn chest cavity your whole life, would rage the fuck out of control. You ain't doing no shadow work. Sorry to tell you, your ass ain't been doing no shadow work. Your ass has been deepening your conditioning. That's what you've been doing. You've been deepening your conditioning, because even as the author of confusion, your adversary teaches you what it is to heal. Your adversary teaches you about the dark night of the soul. Oh, yeah. Your adversary is the one that teaches you meditation is what is required in order for you to overcome a perpetual state of fight or flight. As your state government is telling you in real time, bitch, we about to launch a shock and awe campaign unlike any that has been ever seen. The same state at the other side of a crooked ass mouth. Just meditate. Just learn your mantras. Just be, sometimes you just need solitude, because the greatest enemy of our enemy is our unity. It is our coming together. It is us attempting to create an opposing Godhead among us. You can't, on your astrologers telling you the same regurgitate. They don't even know the origin of the essence of that shit that they be telling you every new moon. Every new moon, they gonna tell you the exact same words. This is the time to plant a new seed. Every full moon, they gonna tell you the exact same. You can watch 1,000 goddamn astrologers, and they gonna tell you the same on a. It don't matter what the energy of the full moon is. They gonna tell you, this is the time to do abundance rituals. Write yourself an abundance check and take it outside and burn it in the light of the moon. Oh my God, an eclipse is coming up. Don't do any rituals. This energy is too big for you to handle. I'm trying to give y'all a word. I don't know if y'all hear, but this Tuesday, we just stepped both feet first into two really magnanimous astrological events. We really have. You understand? The last Saturn and Neptune conjunction that we experienced, at least people that are my age, you feel me? It was 1989. And to go back to 1989 and see the kind of, and that lasted for that initial energy of the Saturn Neptune conjunction lasted, I think, 2.5 years. So you're talking about 1989 and maybe the few months leading up to the exact date, and up to a year and a half after the exact date. I'm talking about 2.5 years. And the last time that had happened, which I talked to y'all about in March, so you might have to go back to March to that deep dive we did on the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. The Berlin Wall came down the last Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Do you understand? The Berlin Wall, the official end of the Cold War, and that shit was spontaneous. Nobody planned that. It was actually a miscommunication in the news about something, about some specific discussion that had been happening in the government, and something happened. And when the news got out, because you know how one person can say one thing, by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's a whole different story. It was like that type of shit. And people was like, oh shit, they said the wall coming down. And so spontaneously, people started coming out of the house with their hammers and shit and started chiseling away. It was the people that brought the goddamn Berlin Wall down. I remember seeing that shit on TV. I was what? Let's see. I was 12, I think, when that happened. In 80, was I 12 and 89? I was about 12 in 89. I was in the 8th grade. It was literally a miscommunication that happened. And the people that were there in real time was like, oh shit, they said the wall coming down. Why don't we help them? And thousands of people started descending on the wall. It was like, look, we gonna make this shit pop. And that shit came down. You feel me? People who had not been able to travel from one side of the wall to the other to see family for years. And that shit killing it. That's big shit. That's big energy shit. The other big thing that happened in 89 was the peak of the satanic panic that saw thousands of people, tens of thousands of people's lives destroyed off fake ass news. Because ain't that what Trump talking about all the time? Yeah, oh, that's just fake news. Oh, that's just fake news. Through fake ass news, stirred up and stimulated by zealot ass Christians. But as a matter of fact, the woman who started the bullshit is from not too far. I forget what city. Was it Santa Monica? It's one of these little, small city extensions of Greater Los Angeles. Made up this big ass story about, some childhood regression, and found out, and all of this shit. Tens of thousands. They say several hundred people committed suicide because of the impact this shit had on their lives. Tens of thousands of people wrongfully arrested, convicted, later released because they have no evidence. Satanic panic. So at the same time that it's a satanic panic and it's destroying the lives of people, this was a great revival of the church. Isn't that something? Doesn't that sound reminiscent of what's happening right now? You feel me? So many things happened in 1989. So many enormous things happened in 1989. The last time we had a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And without a historical context for these big events that are coming down the pike, all three of the outer planets are changing signs this summer. These planets don't, what is it? Uranus come around every 140 something years, 148 years. Uranus, Neptune is like, I forget. Neptune's like 134. What's the other one? Pluto, 248. All three of your major outer signs, outer planets changing signs this summer, over the summer. And these motherfuckers telling you your ass to stay at home. Just do some solitude work and shit while these motherfuckers is running amok around the world. Running amok around the world. Clamping down on women all over the planet. And your ass is perpetually distracted by this increased attack on women by shit like what's been happening in the headlines everywhere. Now, if you have me tell it, this thing happening in Israel right now, these fires, at the very beginning, well, they was like, oh yeah, it's like some kind of wildfire, just a spontaneous fire. And now I'm reading headlines today talking about Israel under attack. Boy, if y'all don't stop, if that ain't some false flag ass shit, if I ain't never seen it, that's some false flag ass shit. Oh, well, we might as well take advantage of this spontaneous thing that done happened to regain sympathy from the world, since we done been made the global villains of the planet. Let's see if we can recorral and redirect that energy back into some sympathy for us type of shit. You feel me? Everybody crying crocodile tears about a motherfucking plantation in one of the most notoriously brutal slave states, Louisiana. That shit should have been burnt to the ground. You feel me? Anyway, we still are in the height of, though nobody talking about it no more, we still in the height of the impact that the fires right here in LA had on the lives of human beings. That was just 2-3 months ago. You feel me? That's shock and awe. That's the shock and awe. It ain't just his goofy ass buffoonery on TV. I told y'all it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. Go back to last June, beginning of last July. I told you it was going to, and it wasn't just Biden. That I told y'all it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. That seeing the success of the strategy, that they were going to lean heavily, while they doing obviously overtly fucked up diabolical shit in the world, they were going to start to employ what? Strategic and weaponized incompetence. Isn't that what they've been saying on the news about Trump for the last 2 weeks now? Making him look goofy in his interviews with the Canadian Prime Minister and with the dude from I forget which Arab country it was a couple of days ago, and he's just like, obviously, look, he already don't. Let me not say that. I don't call men stupid anymore. I do not call them stupid. I do not call them dumb. That's what it means to employ instruments of strategic and weaponized incompetence. Is they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're strategic. They're deliberate. When I tell you, every single outburst, every single quote mistake, every single dumb ass, he got writers. Every dumb ass thing, everything that he does, from his facial, I'm trying to tell y'all, from his facial expression, is a play. It is an act. It is a strategy to divert attention to these radically damaging, lunatical campaigns, plans that they are executing, right? While partnering strategic and weaponized incompetence in the form of your figurehead, partnering that with perpetual, unending campaigns of shock and awe. Your ass is completely caught off guard because your fight and flight response is on an all-time perpetual high. No ebbs, no flows, just like through the roof, fight or flight. And you cannot make good and wise decisions while you are in a perpetual, you cannot think, you cannot strategize, you cannot contemplate, plot, plan, and scheme. You can't do none of that while you are in a perpetual state of fight or flight. And so there's so much I want to talk to y'all about. But I wanted, so that whole little diatribe I just went on is about two things. One, the reason I got on the little heart chakra thing was about this astrology thing, but I had a moment where I got the goosebumps and everything because yo 267th Pope, and everybody's getting all in their heart chest, their heart cavities about him being possibly a Negro. I just can't. I just cannot. People just cheering and bitch, your ass ain't even Catholic. What you happy for? Bitch, your ass ain't even Catholic. All these Negroes. Did y'all know that the Pope, he from Haiti? Please stop. Please stop. Why we got to do this? Why we got to do this every time some Negro sit in some position of power and you think your ass about to benefit? Why we do that? Have we not learned anything in the last 120 motherfucking years? Why we keep doing that? What the sister say a couple years ago when she was delivering the the damn graduation speech and shit, that shit went viral. She was like, black people ain't never benefited from black faces in high places. We ain't never benefited from black faces in high places. Why are we still doing this? Why y'all doing whole long deep dives on this nigga whole family history and family tree? Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? I saw that bullshit ass shit too, Power Kismet, that whole dumbass trend on TikTok about gingers being black. If y'all don't stop the madness, if y'all do not stop the first of all, I am convinced that 89% of the people on social media, on TikTok, on IG, 89% are agents of the state. If you had me tell it, 89% of these motherfuckers is the police. Okay? And then y'all get caught up in this dumb shit. Thousands and probably millions at this point of these dumbass videos about redheads being black. If y'all don't stop, the world falling apart in real time. And this is what y'all on the motherfucking, this is what y'all communicating to each other. Y'all ain't teaching each other shit. Y'all ain't helping each other get your motherfucking skills up, teaching you how to purify water. If you gotta grab your bug out bag and go into the wilderness to get out of the goddamn city. Have y'all not watched The Walking Dead? Like, I'm taking notes. Like, oh, you can create ice without no freezer or refrigerator? Shit, that's a note I need to take. You feel me? Oh shit. When the currency fell, you can find nickels, dimes, quarters, and pennies and melt them bitches down and separate the material up in it that's worth some money, and this can be your new currency. How to identify plants while your ass is bugging out that you can eat and sustain your life for years, even if you don't know how to hunt some shit. How to take the belly out of an animal, the actual stomach out of an animal, and clean it and use that shit as a canteen to capture water if you can't find nothing to capture no water in. Y'all better get y'all motherfucking life right. I mean that shit. Y'all better get y'all goddamn life right. What can you use as instruments of protection if you live in a state where it is difficult to be licensed to carry? Do you know CPR and first aid? Everybody on earth, everybody in this country needs to learn CPR and basic first aid. If you have children and you do not know first aid and CPR, I have a problem with you. Get your goddamn life right when you can go to the Red Cross. What's the other one? The Red Cross and the Red Cross and there's another one. The Red Cross and something else. Fuck. So Red Cross and some other organization like that where you can get certified in CPR and first aid for free. For free. Every major city in this country, I think every state in this country has what they call first aid. First aid. Oh, what's the word? First aid reserves. So if you go to your local fire department, listen to me, go to your local fire department and you say that if the shit hit the fan in any fucking way, you feel me? I want to sign up to be a volunteer. They will put you for free. You will sign up for a certain number of hours. I think it's like 20 hours or 40 hours. It might depend on your stay. They will train you in CPR and first aid for free and give you a giant bag of first aid motherfucking materials. How to apply a splint, how to stop a hemorrhage, bitch. Go to your local, what they call it, your Army surplus store or your Navy surplus store or whatever. For pennies on the dollar. Radiation tablets. In case some weirdos start firing off nuclear weapons, you don't die from goddamn radiation poisoning. We probably need to be taking that shit anyway, all this fucking radiation exposure from these phones and gadgetry and shit, you feel me? Right? all kinds of things you can buy at the Army surplus store that can function as actual real life in time, protect and preserve your life materials that don't require you to go get licensed to carry no shit. And you can still defend yourself. You can still protect your life. Y'all up on here talking about how redheads is the new black. Get your motherfucking life right. Yeah. Now, I was a survivalist before survivalism was cute, before it was a cultural phenom. My dad, I told y'all, was a zealot. And when I say a zealot, I mean like an old school Pauline motherfucking zealot. You understand? When I say zealot, for those of you who don't know, didn't grow up in the goddamn Christian church, I'm talking about fasting and praying in sackcloth and ashes type shit. Okay? Shit. And it wasn't just him fasting and praying and sackcloth and ashes type shit. His kids and his nieces and nephews. We all did that shit. While y'all was watching cartoons on Saturday morning, early, 8 o'clock in the morning, sitting with your little pajamas on, eating Cocoa Puffs and doing and watching watching your cartoons. He had us in the front yard, lined up from the oldest to the youngest, doing jumping jacks. 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, push-ups. 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir. And shit. You understand? Teaching us archery at 8 years old and shit. I was 8. You know what I'm saying? My sister was younger. My youngest cousin was younger. Having us run round after we do all our exercise. 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir. Have us all take off around Joel Circle. Fucking Gulfport, Mississippi. It was exactly 1 mile from our front porch all the way around Joel Circle back to our front porch. And you better not slow down and you better not stop. He would ride on a little bicycle with his knees. He had to ride with his knees out like this, following us with a switch to make sure we didn't stop. Just every Saturday morning. You understand? I was the oldest girl. Twice a month, my responsibility as the oldest girl was to prep enough vegetables for us to be able to not have to go to the store for the whole month. And I'm the one cooking for a family of 7. I'm 9. I'm 10 when I moved in with my dad. I'm 10. I'm the only one that cooked in that house. And then twice a month, my dad's wife, my stepmom, she worked at a produce department at Piggly Wiggly and would bring all the produce that they were going to throw away that was still perfectly good produce. She would put it in a box and put it out behind the dumpster. And then after she got off work, put the boxes of produce in the car and bring it home. And I would spend 3-4 days after school every day prepping vegetables, cutting, dicing, flash boiling, cutting, putting them all in the bag to put all that shit in the deep freezer so we have enough motherfucking food for the month. Please get y'all goddamn life right. Please get y'all goddamn life right. I don't want to hear talking about some dumb shit. You feel me? Anyway. So I want to read something. So in preparation, okay, so 2 big things. The reason I got on that hole, I went on a whole ass worm hole that I'm not going to go into tonight, but it's just funny how the segue about y'all astrologers telling y'all to stay inside as the summer month is approaching, as the heart element is approaching, and that is the energy of the courageous, well-balanced, harmonized Leo, who is clear thinking, who is analytical, but also boisterous, happy, exciting, attractive. Think about the lion on The Wiz, not the Wizard of Oz, on the black version, on The Wiz. You feel me? He was, even though he was a coward, because that's the other side, not just the arrogance and the egomania, a Leo spirit, a lion who is not harmonized, not emboldened, not active in responding to fear, becomes a coward. That's the other shadow side of the Leo energy, is that when they are way off, they become cowardly, just like that lion in The Wiz. Here he was putting on a front. He was like, yeah, what was the song you sang? 'Cause I'm a mean old lion. he was swagadocious, right? He was like, cause I'm on me, no lion. Who is the lion? You feel me? It's big, it's bright. They say that his mane like kind of represents the constellation Leo, right? Because there's a meteor shower that happens, I think, every year in Leo. Yeah. It's the same week as the 8/8 portal. It's the same week as the 8/8 portal. That meteor shower, I forget the name of it, but that meteor shower that happens in the sign of Leo around, it's the same week as the 8/8 portal, makes the constellation because it appears to be stars, right? In the constellation of Leo the Lion, and that's his mane because it's like flowing. The stars are like flowing like his mane does. You feel me? And so, he's swagadocious. He's entertaining. He got flair. He got style. You feel me? But that's a front. If he's not in balance, he's a coward. And so he wears the clothes of the lion, but he's a coward. You feel me? The swaggadosha has to be matched with his character, his actual character. What is his actual character based on? His action. Who he is in the real world. Not what he claims to be, who he is in the real world. A harmonious representation of a clear-minded, strategic, noble, courageous, visionary leader who surveys his terrain like a lion, who surveys his entire kingdom, who surveys his terrain. And if anything has gone wrong in his kingdom, he doesn't blame the people impacted by that. He said, well, damn, I must have missed the spot. I dropped the ball somewhere. How am I, as the leader, going to address this event that has happened on my watch as the leader of the kingdom? He says it's my responsibility to address this. You feel me? And so as we're going into this dynamic season, at literally days around this Pluto retrograde, yeah, as a matter of fact, right on the precipice of it, like a day or two before or some shit, the Pluto retrograde, like a day or two before, they announced that the 267th Pope, Negro Pope that y'all all hailing about, the name that he chooses is Leo. The name that he chooses is Leo. So of course I went on a deep dive about the history of all the popes named Leo. He is the 14th Pope named Leo. And baby. Now he say that the Leo that he chose his name after was Leo I think it's the 13th. Leo the 13th. The one before, I think it's Leo the 13th. Yeah, it's the one right before him, Leo the 13th. And his pontiff thing was at the turn of the century, right? And he is one of only 4 priests who are he is a Augustinian priest. He's one of only 4 that have ever been Augustinians. So of course I'm deep diving on what St. Augustine did, that he got this little set, because they say there ain't but like 2,800 people on earth that practice Augustinianism or whatever. You feel me? And to see the characters of the Leo he named himself after, the history of the Leos, you feel what else? The Augustinians, since that's what he practiced, you feel me? Within the context of them announcing him as the Pope 2 days before or 2 days after we enter this Pluto, or the day of, was it the day of? Somebody check the date on when this nigga got announced as the Pope. But it was right around this Pluto going retrograde. You feel me? And everybody talking about this dude is a Negro. Nobody is talking about the fact that he is the first pope, the first pope in 800 years to come from an English-speaking nation. The last pope from an English-speaking nation was 800 years ago, right? They ain't talk about the fact that he's the first American Catholic pope, and how this is right on the back end of that shit that I was screaming from the rooftops about just 4 years ago, about how this overt domination, because there's still something happening behind the closed doors, but the face of this new tendency as we're shifting into all of these big events is Catholicism. Biden was a Catholic, one of only 2 Catholic presidents in the history of this country. For the first time in the history of the institution, the Supreme Court was predominantly active practicing Catholics. One, an extreme Catholic, a goddamn Jesuit, an honorary Jesuit, the Chief Justice, who drafted the document to overturn Roe versus Wade. That was the first thing he did when he got the seat. That was the first thing he did when he took the seat. This honorary Jesuit. You feel me? 148 cabinet members, practicing devout Catholics. Nancy Pelosi, born a Jew, a professed devout Catholic. You hear me? You hear me? And y'all don't think that their worldview, their religious, spiritual worldview is going to have an impact on how they vote in legislation, how they move behind closed doors or overtly. You feel what policies they going to support or not support? Y'all really believe that they're going to be objective in these spaces? That my religion is no reflection of my political views. And then, so this nigga is the icing on the cake of a process that's already been baking for some time. For some time. Because I went on a whole ass tangent. Several tangents, as a matter of fact, when Biden was in office. I was like, this boy is a Catholic. And you can play like that's not going to make a difference in your life, but I am telling you it is going to make a chief and primary impact on your life. Any of you who have been, quote, coloring outside the Judeo-Christian lines, y'all about to feel the heat up in this bitch. Y'all about to feel the heat up in this bitch. You feel me? Y'all about to feel the heat. And this nigga is the icing on the cake. That's what he is. And he had to be at least in some proximity to. He had to be in proximity to coloredness. Because Pope Francis was the same thing. Pope Francis was white. You know, look what you heard. Pope Francis was white, but they didn't call him white. Whenever they talked about Pope Francis, he's the first pope from Latin America, to give people in their consciousness some kind of sense of sameness, because the majority of practicing Catholics on the planet Earth are in Central and South America. The majority of practicing devout Catholics on the whole planet are in Central and South America. So this was strategic, not saying Pope Francis, because they ain't never announced anybody else race and shit. But every time you talk, he's the great Pope. He's like us. Look at him washing these colored people's feet. That's how they always talk about this nigga. The first Latin American Pope. And people heartstrings all plucked the fuck out. When they announced the new Pope the other day, there was millions of people in Vatican City, y'all. The shit looked like a plague. It was like a plague of people in Vatican City when he was announced. And of all the millions and millions and millions of people in Vatican City, bitch. And I swear I must have watched 3 different news broadcasts, and how they just always find conveniently some colored person. They find a negress out of a crowd, out of a sea of millions of white people, white-skinned people, you feel me? Europeans. They find the one negress from motherfucking Chicago, you feel me? Well, I had to be here. And he was like, are you Catholic? She was like, no, I'm not Catholic, but I just knew this was a historic moment that I couldn't miss. Girl, black as the day is long. You understand? Fucking braids weaved all the way down her back. Like they made sure they got the most chocolate motherfucker they could find to interview. And it was like every other news broadcaster found the same black ass, chocolate, dread headed, braids down the back ass bitch to be talking about. I'm from America. No, I'm not Catholic, but I just knew this was going to be awesome. Yo, all you can do is laugh to keep from crying because this shit is exhausting. This shit is crazy as fuck. And just when you think shit cannot get no crazier, somebody else brings some crazy ass shit up on your ass. This damn ginger is the new black shit. I think some cracker got up on here talking about orange is the new black. Orange is the new black. I said, oh my God. If I see one more redhead person doing some Negro line dance, I'm quitting. I'm just quitting. I'm quitting. Okay. I'm quitting. I'm gonna unplug everything and just follow the mindless herds. I'm out. Okay. I cannot with y'all. This shit is crazy as fuck. So anyway, those are the two things. Yo new emperor, your new face of the Holy Roman Empire, the hidden Holy Roman Empire, is named Leo. Announced right at the gates of our entry into Leo season of one of the most tumultuous years in human history, in American history. Let me put it like that. You understand? As the world is literally burning. The reason I chose the title is in my deep dive search across many eons and shit this week. In the year 64 AD, there was this thing called the Great Fire of Rome. It was an event in Rome in 64 AD called the Great Fire of Rome that destroyed 70% of Rome. They thought Rome would not recover. 70% of Rome burnt to the ground. The image that I put in the thumbnail, I put Rome is burning in the search engine. And that's like books have been written on this event. Many mythologies have been written on this event because one of the biggest well-maintained myths is that Emperor Nero, who was the emperor of Rome at the time, there are a multiplicity of stories that talk about how as Rome was burning to the ground, Nero went on top of his castle and pulled out a harp and started singing lamentations as he watched the empire fall, right? And so that's one of the thousands of images that come up of Nero singing and playing the lyre, which is that kind of harp-looking stringed instrument, watching the flames, right? There's so many really good metaphors in the story about the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. Because Nero was an infamous emperor. Nero actually was the one who started the Summer Olympics. He not the Summer Olympics. He was the one who started the Olympic Games in Rome. He was the one that initiated the first Olympic Games that Joe Olympics is still fashioned after. The reason that is so interesting is because part of the Olympics, part of the games, was the gladiator fights and throwing people to fight against the lions, throwing bitches in the ring with the lions. That was part of the Olympics. You understand what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that he was well known for. He hated the Jews with a vengeance, and he hated the Christians with a vengeance. They say that he was extraordinarily, insanely tyrannical in his opposition to the Christians and to the Jews. Now, I will say, hindsight being 2020, Nero hated the Jews and hated the Christians and was tossing niggas into the thing with the lions and shit, you feel me? And he did all kind of terrible stuff to the Christians and the Jews. So much so that when people talk about Emperor Nero, they say that he was the very first of suspected, quote, antichrists in a long line of people who were thought to be antichrist. Okay. Nero was the first. Whoop, shoot. Notes falling out of notes. So that's one thing. Nero, what else do you see it about this dude that I thought was significant? Let's see. So before I go any deeper, let's see what y'all talking about over here. Power Kismet say damn chocolate agents. Yes. But like my homeboy say, he's on the temple founding committee. He say we always one nigga away from freedom. It's always one nigga that's standing in the way of freedom. We always one nigga away from freedom. And then the prophecy was that the last pope would be black before Armageddon. Interesting. Okay, so there was something. Yeah. Okay. Hey, the brother that says we always one nigga away from freedom, he just came on the line. Your ears must have been burning, comrade. Kamara, the step and razor gorilla of the matriarchs. That's my homie right there. Let's see. There's a lot that happened this week. I tried to put a lot of posts in my Facebook group. I know y'all don't really be up on you like that. But something else that was really big this week, because they buried the Pope. And they buried the Pope last week. They buried the Pope, Pope Francis, and they buried him in the what is it called? The he was consecrated to Our Lady of Fatima, a shrine in Portugal. Okay. Pope Francis, this last week, as we have entered into the Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, they buried him and consecrated him to Our Lady of Fatima at the Portugal shrine. Okay, so I was like, who the fuck is the Lady of Fatima? So this week on the 7th, today, oh my God, whoa, whoa, today. Today is the anniversary of the it's called the miracle of Lady Fatima, where in Portugal 3 young children professed to see the Virgin Mary, and I think they called them the Screaming Children. I think that was a title that they gave them at one point. But when they saw her several times, a series of times. She came to them. And when she came to them, she gave them 3 prophecies that they could not speak aloud. That they could not speak the prophecies aloud until a certain period of time, until certain things happened. There were certain things that had to happen before they could speak the prophecies. Okay. And this became a cornerstone of like the whole growing of the flock of the Catholic Church. This the miracle at the miracle of Lady Fatima, right, which was a personification of the Virgin Mary, and 2 of the prophecies came to be. They were very explicit. So I think one of the children became a nun, and she became very close to the church itself, like she moved to Rome, like became very important in this process. This was in 1917. Today, back in 1917, which is the anniversary this week, as the Pope has been consecrated at the shrine of Our Lady Fatima. Okay, that was what the wormhole sent me on, because I just didn't know who she was. I was like, Google, who the fuck was she, right? So that happened this week. The same week that this happened, thousands of people report seeing another miracle where it appeared that the sun was 3 times its size and it appeared to dance in the sky. And this was seen by thousands of people all over Europe, right? So they called, I forget what they called that. What they called that? Did I write it down? No, I didn't. But that's what happened in 1917, okay? The reason that this is important is because 1917, when this happened, also 1917 was the beginning of the First World War. People started going, men, it was like 10,000 men, signed up to join World War One. World War One was in 1917. What else happened? I'm all over the place. But a gang of shit happened in 1917. What's significant about 1917? That they would be seeing miracles in the sky, and the Virgin Mary would come and tell 3 random kids in the farmlands, you feel me, about 3 things that was going to happen, and 2 of them actually happened damn near verbatim the way the Virgin Mary said it was going to happen and shit. This becomes a cornerstone of the Roman Catholic Church, and it's, quote, winning people to the church and shit in 1917. What else had happened? A whole gang of shit had happened. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about it later. But anyway, the reason it's significant is because 1917. So I told y'all the last time there was a Saturn-Pluto conjunction, you feel me, in Aries. I mean, a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries was in 1989. Before that, 1952, and before that, 1917. 1917. So these events, so I didn't even know none of that before I started talking, because I just was on like what this dude, who this dude is that just became the Pope, his name Leo. That's how my journey started. Then in the search for the Pope, who is the Negro Leo, you feel me? Pope Francis came up and it was like, oh, Pope Francis got consecrated and buried in Portugal, and the Lady of Fatima. And I was like, who the Lady of Fatima? And then I find out that on the 17th in 1717, you feel me, that these kids saw this miracle. And in the same week that miracle happened, thousands of people from all over Europe was like, yo, the sun is giant and it's dancing all over the sky. They think this is a mass UFO sighting, is what they thought the people had witnessed. You feel me? And the First World War began literally in the year 1917. Right? And then no, that was not okay. So it was not today. It was May 14th of 1917. May 14th of 1917 that happened. Okay. So this is, and that didn't even happen under something as ginormously influential as a Pluto return. Pluto in Aquarius for the first time in 248 years. Okay, so that's one thing. Yeah. Okay, so for the 20th, we had been making some plans, and I've been overwhelmed, and so my vision for May 20th ever looming, I was like, okay, I can't stress about this. We know the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, the first Council of Nicaea, is next Tuesday. And so I've already drafted it. I've drafted an Eventbrite and a Zoom for, I'm probably not even going to, I don't know how I'm going to handle it. Because I want as many people to have access to what it is we're going to do. But we are going to meet at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tuesday night. and conduct a ceremony, conduct ritual. And so I had an idea the other day, because like I said, I haven't slept for 48 hours. I'm on the brink of delirium right now. You feel me? And it's already midnight. And so I was like, okay, we could possibly use an old conspiracy like the one that we used on November 19th. Okay, fine. But then I had this idea, because I've been thinking a lot, and several of you had asked me if I would, which I'm going to, have asked me if I would reread the book The Sibyls by Mama Zogwe, because I was broadcasting through Zoom. There's like several books that I've read, and I was broadcasting not through Zoom, through StreamYard, and so many videos just had so much fucked up interruption. I was like, yeah, I should reread these. So I've been asked to reread Communion by Bell Hooks. I've been asked to reread the Great Black Mama of Creation, and I've been asked to reread The Sibyls, which I think it's a reasonable ask. Those are relatively short books. And I was like, yeah, I'll put that on my agenda. But anyway, in thinking about that, because I just gotten another request to reread The Sibyls, I was like, damn, instead of writing a new conspiracy, didn't she write a prophecy up in this joint? Maybe we can just use the prophecy as the conspiracy for May 20th. So I was like, let me go back and see if this is going to work. Okay. Child, look. Okay. So for those of you who may have the book, or if it's within reach, it is page 96 of the book The Sibyls, the First Prophetesses of Mami Wata and the Theft of African Prophecy by the Roman Catholic Church, by the late great Mama Zogbe. Okay, it's on page 96. This is a prophecy from one of the Sibyls, right? My eyeballs. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. Can I go get your brother? I don't know what he in, but it sounds like he tearing up shit. I ain't worn these in a long time. I ain't been really trying to wear glasses and make my vision worse by relying on them, but I haven't slept for 48 hours, so I can't see shit right now. Okay. Well, yeah, that's gonna be better. Okay. Oh, yes, Lord, I can see. Okay. This is the prophecy from the Sibyls about the fall of Rome. Thrice 300 years having run their course of fulfillment, Rome, by the strife her people shall perish. Rome is doomed to perish, and that indeed by the judgment of God, because it held her name in hatred, and being the enemy of righteousness, it destroyed the people who kept her truth. There shall come to thee sometime from above a heavenly stroke deserved, O haughty Rome, and thou shalt O haughty Rome, and thou shalt be the first to bend thy neck and be razed to the ground, and thee shall fire destructive utterly consume, and thee shall fire destructive utterly consume, cast down upon thy pavements, and thy wealth shall perish, and wolves and foxes dwell in they foundations, and then shalt thou be wholly desolate, as if never born. Oh my God. I needed to read that tonight. Thank you for the donation, Neteru Sekmet 9. Woo, child, I needed to reread that on this night. She said, y'all will be wholly desolate as if never born. Oh, can we call it into the space as so? Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna make this little segue. Phil, this is a word I'm giving y'all tonight, just by the way, here at 12, almost 12:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm always giving y'all a word, but tonight it's gonna be wildly impactful, I believe. I'm gonna be here a little longer. That's my commitment to myself because I still got a lot to do. Like a lot to do. So this is me passing the plate. This is service. You feel this is service. This is a sermon I'm delivering, and this is the moment where we take the opportunity to pass the plate. Okay, if you want to make donations to the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, there are 5 ways that you can do that. You can, if you're on YouTube, you can do a chat, a super thanks, any of those things. You can become a paid member of my YouTube channel. The details are in the detail box below this video. If you are tuning in from anywhere and would like to see, would like to make a contribution that does not tax me, because doing super thanks and all of that, they tax every time you make a donation that way, then my Zelle for the temple is the email for the temple, evoemetemp@gmail.com. evoemetemp@gmail.com. Then Cashapp is $Daughter of the Fates, just like my YouTube channel, Daughter of the Fates, Fates. Venmo is my name, Cassandra with 2 S's, -Floyd, Floyd. And lastly, PayPal, which is the same email, evoemetemp@gmail.com. evoemetemp@gmail.com. Those are the ways that you can make donations, contributions to the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I remember you, Frank. I know you here in California, baby. I remember you. You Oxnard, right? I remember. Even though it's been years and years and years since we've seen each other face, I remember you. And then you can also support my jewelry store, which is DaughterOfTheFates.etsy.com. DaughterOfTheFates, FATES.etsy.com. Also, let's see what else. Oh, thank you. I think that's money coming. Hold on. Let me shout y'all out as they coming through. Hold on. Oop. My phone. Ooh. Let's see. Rosa. Oh, it's good to see you. I didn't even notice you was on here. Am I missing people? Oh, QB on here. Who else on here I didn't shout out? Neteru, Nikki. Oh, Claudia Akra in the house. Okay, what? Okay, Grace. Okay, hey boo, how you doing? Oh, Lotus Combs. Okay, y'all just slid right up on in here while I was running my mouth. Kylie, yours truly, Icy Captain. Okay, what? Marie, Lunar, Super B Flesh. Okay. Voiceovers by Stephanie. I miss all y'all slide up in here. Okay. So let's see. GJP, thank you for the donation. Rosa, thank you for the donation. Let's see who this is. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Like that. Okay, so let's get back to it. I'm gonna try to pep this up a little bit. Okay, so I wanted to read that because yes. So Yes. She says Rome shall be razed to the ground, and the destruction so thorough that Rome, wholly desolate, will appear as if it had never been born. Mm-hmm. Yes. And then we still have the conspiracy of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. You feel me? Let me go ahead and read that too. while I'm up in here. We have our standard conspiracy, because I don't think I'm writing a conspiracy, honestly. I don't. I know it don't seem like much, but I had to make 30 books. 30 books. So that's what I'm still working on. I still got like 11 books to make. Thank you for the donation, Virgo. Okay, I like your name. I have 30 books. I still got a lot. I think I still got 12 books to make tonight. If you're wondering what books I'm talking about, it is the journals that I make, right? So I told y'all I make journals, fabric covered journals, and I got an order for 30. So I'm still going to be up the rest of the night trying to finish the last 12. So I probably won't sleep again tonight. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. I put your name, Cassandra-Floyd, as a peculiar expression of the almighty divine she, the great cosmic mother, now join in breath with my global family to conspire on behalf of the whole made well. We are breathing these words together to ensure that our home, her body, is restored to her original perfect glory. Her glory is perfect in peace, love, bliss, happiness, and ecstasy. This world exists because we collectively will it so. We, as the representatives of the mother's reign on earth, speak this beautiful conspiracy as a single divine, cosmic, earthly orchestra to guarantee heaven on earth in joyful compliance with our mother's divine will. Possessing the power of our mothers, we speak this glorious future now. It is certainly as we say, Mommy and I are one. Yes, that's the conspiracy. You understand? Yeah. There was another conspiracy I wrote. I think we made it a part of what we did on the 19th when Pluto permanently stationed in Aquarius on November 19th of last year. And you know what? Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if y'all remember this. There's a song that I love, that I'm really obsessed with among many, called Wrath of the Siafu. I don't know if y'all remember. There was one verse. It's a bunch of rappers out of Atlanta that did this song together as a fundraiser for Siafu Youth Group. And it's a project of oh shit. I can't even remember, child. Kalanji gone. Oh yeah, here it is. See. Oh, this was another. Oh no, this is the conspiracy that we read for November 19th. This is a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. This might be the one. I'll read it to you. We know now who we are. We know where our destiny lies. Our destiny lies with our sister witches. Our destiny lies with our great cosmic mother. Mommy and I are one. The way we did this was as a call and response. Some of you were in the ceremony. It was for womb holders only. But I'm going to share it with you tonight because this is a good one. But it was a call and response. After every phrase, we would together say, Mommy and I are one. Let's see. Our destiny lies with our great cosmic mother. Mommy and I are one. Our mother's power is our power. Our mother's will is our will. Our mother's judgment is our command. This is the moment we've all been waiting for our whole lives. This moment is why we have this moment is why we have this power. We use our power. We use our power for our own desire. We use our power to seek vengeance. We use our power to call for his to call. Whoo, child. We was up in that mountain cutting up. We use our power to call for his heart, to call for his life. We use our power to call back our wealth, to call back our happiness, to call back our lives. Our mother's wealth, our grandmother's wealth, all the way back to the beginning. True power is ours. Let's see. This is mommy's will. This is mommy's will. We are the fates. No, let's see. We are the fates. We are the furies. We are our mother's daughters. We are our mother's children. This is mommy's will. Her will be done. True power is ours. We claim back our seat of power as our mother's daughters. The mother's judgment is just. Her punishment's divine. Let's see. Our mother's judgment is just and her punishment divine. May her will be done. It is as we say, mommy and I are one. Yeah, that was that gangster shit. I forgot I wrote that. I was like, okay, let's go. I didn't even type it out. We just did it on the spot. So yeah, if y'all want me to, since that's already written down, I will I can make a commitment to type this out and email it to you if you want it. This is for the 20th. So what I'll do is on one sheet I'll type out the prophecy from the civils, and then the conspiracy that we casted on November 19th, because that covers it all. If you had me tell it, I might make a few adjustments, but that's gangster right there. Yeah, let me put a bookmark in there. That's the one. Okay. So now some other shit I want to share with you before I get up off of here. And then what we did this past Saturday, the workshop that I taught on uncovering the secrets of symbols and sacred objects, the workshop that I taught out at the wellness event this past Saturday. This book, also the symbols, had a lot to say about talismans, and I had not even read in this book when doing the research for the talismans to teach the workshop. So I thought that was dope. That as a matter of fact, this is another fucking wormhole I went on this week, because I was like, you know what do the symbols say anything about talismans? Let me just look real quick, like, you feel me? So I go up in here, and it says this is on page 37. The African patriarchs having superior. Listen. Clean your ears out. Unplug your ears. Okay. Damn. Okay. This is yes. Listen. It was at Ephesus and Corinth where the converted Jew turned Christian Paul was made a saint by the Roman Church for helping to orchestrate the destruction of much of the ancient Black matriarchal temples of the Black Diana, and forcing Christianity upon its citizenry. As patriarchy held sway around the world, the foreign invaders, i.e. the Syrians, Greeks, Turks, Romans, and others, on many occasions would often join forces with the Amazons' African patriarchal enemies in order to defeat them. The African patriarchs, having superior knowledge of their ritual magic, therefore knew how to fight against them successfully. Talking about the Amazonian women, the Black Amazons. How they men turned against them because they knew the magic now. They had the keys to the rituals now, and so they would join with the invaders, the Assyrians and the Greeks and the Turks and the Romans and the others. The Negroes would join forces with their enemies to undo their counterpart, the Amazonian women. The African patriarchs, having superior knowledge of their ritual magic, therefore knew how to fight against them successfully. In fact, many of y'all, goddamn, I forgot about this. Many of the epic tales recounting the greatness of Black heroes, such as Hercules, or Hercules, as y'all call him, Hercules or Hercules, Theseus. Oh my God. Theseus and others, and Theseus and Hercules. Oh my God, how they, as kids, I remember watching every remake of these stories and watching them now. I'm like, oh my God, all this time they were teaching children to root and sing songs to their enemies. How Hercules, as his labors, were always to destroy some symbol of the mother that remained on earth. Every quote monster he slayed was some quote she monster that was divine to the mother. Every single fucking one. I'm sitting here rereading these stories in real time, and I'm like, oh my God, this shit is so much deeper than we give space for. It, even me, as deep as I be going, I'm like, oh my God, right? And then we learned that Hercules and Theseus and Samson and all of these motherfuckers, now we having to undo the white archetype in our head of these quote great heroes and face the deeply hurtful and traumatizing realization that they wasn't even white, that they looked just like us, these great heroes slaying the mothers to and fro. Oh, oh, oh. There's Samson, who had 7 locks, that was the source of his strength, who killed the mother's lion. This is a metaphor about destroying the lion of Durga, y'all. Whew. A black-skinned, dread-headed Negro slaying the mother's lion. That's another deep wormhole I went on into in trying to search this Negro Pope name and why so many popes was named Leo and this and this and this. Because up until the consolidation of patriarchy, the lion had always and exclusively been a symbol of the goddess. Always, in every culture. So of course they gonna hijack the most powerful symbol of the mother in her different personifications, Sekhmet, Durga's lion, and this and this and this and this, and then say, the Lion of Judah and shit. That's your Chronicles of Narnia, the Lion of Judah and shit. That's why them dread-headed Jamaican Rastafari and shit always be talking about the Lion of Judah and shit. Bob Marley on the cover of one of my favorite albums as the Lion of Judah with his dreads flowing in the wind and shit, while he is on a giant white horse like that of in the Revelations. On top of his horse is on the top of the mother's back as he is slaying the divine dragon, Bob Marley, as the Lion of Judah. Anyway, she say, in fact, Many of the epic tales recounting the greatness of Black heroes, such as Hercules, Theseus, and others, was due to them being able to defeat the Amazonian queens by stealing their ritual girdle. Wasn't that one of the wasn't one that one of the journeys, or the epic journeys of Sinbad, is the reclamation of the golden girdle? Stealing their golden girdle, the talismans they possessed, the thunder axes. What's the thunder axe? Somebody tell me what the thunder axe is. Somebody remember what the thunder axe is? Because that too was another goddamn wormhole I went back into. What's the thunder axes? Somebody remember what the thunder axes is? It's relevant to this discussion that we've been having all the way up until this point. The thunder axes. Yes, the Hydra. Yes, the Hydra. Yes. As a matter of fact, you remember the movie, the one of the many remakes of what is it? It's on Disney. It's Perseus and the Lightning Thief. Remember? Y'all got to go back and watch that shit. Percy and the Lightning Thief. It's like once you see this shit, you like, oh my God. Percy and the Lightning Thief. But yes, in that, and also in the movie we was talking about last week, Hercules, the Disney remake, and I was tripping off the fact that the Great Conjunction, somebody mentioned it in my feed. I was like, the Great Conjunction, they've been telling us about the Great Conjunction since the 1980s with the movie The Dark Crystal. At least that's as early as I can remember. But they've been talking about the Great Conjunction that happened in 2020, on the winter solstice of 2020. They've been talking about that Great Conjunction in so many goddamn movies for decades. For decades. You understand? It was in Hercules. But anyway, Hercules has to kill the seven-headed Hydra in the movie Hercules, where Hades is being told by the Fates that all he got to do is play his cards right. And when the Great Conjunction comes, he'll be in a position to take the whole motherfucking thing. Hades, aka Pluto, aka Oya. They've been telling us this period that we in right now, they have been talking to us about for decades. But they ain't been talking to us. They've been talking to each other and giving us the blind entertainment. But they've been communicating to each other through these quote myths, because that story was supposed to help them maintain power. You feel me? So in this story, anyway, the thunder axes. Lions are matriarchal, but society focuses so much on the king of the jungle archetype, when in fact male lion, hell yeah, I watched 1,000 videos about the male lion. You feel me? Anyway, yeah, he's an accurate what you call it? An accurate personification of patriarchy in peak form. Take all the credit, but don't do shit. Just lay around, looking to get laid every now and again while the females get out there and get shit done. Feel me? Anyway, the thunder axis. Don't let me listen. It's important, because the thunder axis, we see this imagery all the time. I just talked to you, as I do frequently, about this period that we're in. Pluto in Aquarius as Shango and Oya, or Oya, Pluto, Shango, Aquarius, right? I read to you guys last week this story that I got off a YouTube channel about the retelling of this relationship between Oya and Shango, where she is victorious in a battle over Shango. I was like, oh shit, this is a tale of things to come. You feel me? This is a tale of things to come. Because the story in E5 is always they as the great revolutionary couple, whatever. You feel me? So this story, I was like a little triggered, because I still hold on to my little old beliefs, right? And baby, that shit was great. The reason I mentioned and I'm stuck on the thunder axis is because the thunder axis are the labors. The way I got into this wormhole that I went on is I was like, why they be calling it labors? when they talk about Hercules and his 12 labors, or this guy and his labors, the hard work that they got to go through to become victorious, the struggle, the strife, the trials and tribulations and that they got to go through to become victorious in the hero's journey. I'm like, why they call it labors though? You feel me? And so I looked up the etymology for the word labor as we know it, labor. And then I looked up the word, the older word, the significantly older word, labors, labrys, labors. That is the name for the ceremonial two-sided axe or double-edged axe, right? The reason it's a double-edged axe is because it looks like two backwards facing crescent moons. It was always and exclusively used as a ceremonial axe for sacrifices to the goddess. And it wasn't until males got a hold of the labors that it became a weapon of war. That for eons, or around different cultures, the Phoenicians, who was the other ones? The Phoenicians, the Cretans, the Amazonians, with several other well-known warrior goddess worshiping societies that exclusively use the labors for ceremonial practices only, right? So I'm going into this deep dive about the labors and how even the concept of the labors is a hijacking of the mother's story. And so who are the great heroes that carry the double-edged blade? Shango is one. Shango is one. Shango is one. Mm-hmm. Yep. As a matter of fact, I don't know if y'all remember in the Great Cosmic Mother, I don't remember what chapter it is, but she talks about the labors being stolen by these war gods. Thor, he carries a double hammer, but in the earlier text, it was a double-edged blade. That's why everybody always made the connection between Thor and Shango. Oh, they stole that shit from Africa because it was Shango. Well, before it was Shango, biatch, it was somebody else, probably female. Don't know who she is yet. But the reason I'm saying that is because in the Great Cosmic Mother, every deity that had been associated with the labors, right? The double-edged ceremonial goddess worshiping axe, you feel me? Those gods, no matter what culture they were from, if they had a double-edged blade, the corresponding colors for that deity, just take a wild guess what their colors were. Now it's a blade of the goddess, you feel me? A double-edged blade of the goddess that represents two opposing crescent moons, two different phases of the moon, of the 7-phase moon. Just guess based on that what the corresponding colors for the any deity, that any female deity that possessed the double-edged blade. Can anybody guess? Venture a wild guess? Close. Claudia Ankara. Close. Nope. Go back. Oh, Chloe. No, I won't even make it difficult. Red and white. That's Shango's colors. Red and white, right? Red and white. Now, according to the Great Cosmic Mother, she said the red and white, whenever you saw the red and white in the ancient world and goddess worshiping societies, it was a representation of the mother's sacred fluids. What are her sacred fluids? Moon blood and milk. Moon blood and heavenly milk. Moon blood and milk. Yep. And so now, a few thousand years later, Shango becomes Lord of Thunder and Lightning, holding the double-edged blade, you feel me? And his colors, his ceremonial colors are red and white. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Thor becomes the Lord of Lightning and Thunder, and his colors become red and white. Isn't that something? War blood and semen, because she talks about that in the Great Cosmic Mother. That once the men folk took over the goddesses' temples, took over the goddesses' instruments, right, and assumed the colors that were for quote the sacred blood that comes from no wound, the sacred cyclical blood that comes from no wound, and the magic and the miracles of heavenly milk. You feel me? Red and white. Once they took over the shit, you feel me? Because they are functioning off the ingrained symbols that they are manipulating based on symbols, people's memory, right? Of what these deities meant to them. So it's like, we got to keep the color, we got to keep all the symbols. This is how we control their subconscious mind. You feel me? Keep all the symbols, and then we just, reorient them to the male. So it becomes war blood. They become gods of war, not gods of life. They become war gods. Hence, now we going into battle with the axe and the slicing and the dicing and the this and the that. You feel me? So we spill the red. We get the red because we spill blood in death ceremonies, these motherfucking war gods. And then, the evidence of our masculine prowess is our progenitive power in the white divine semen seed and shit. Yeah. Meanwhile, the labors, the double-edged blade of the mother, representing the two opposing phases of the waxing crescent and the waning crescent, you feel me, is not only because it's two opposing crescent moons. When you look at them, typically they would have, because all of these deities were goddesses of storms too. They were said to be able to control the elements, particularly rain, thunder, and lightning, right? So when I say these niggas literally hijack every single aspect and personification of the mother everywhere they went, I mean that shit literally. So you would see these emblems of like lightning or whatever on these listen. You would see these axes, ancient axes, right? Double-edged labors, and typically they would have like a bolt of lightning right in the middle, because not only do they represent the labors, the opposing crescent moon, they represented, see that lightning in between the two labors? Them labors represented the labia, the gates, the labia, the left labia and the right labia. For people who do not know what a labia is, God bless your whole heart, is the vagina lips. The vagina lips of the open mouth of the serpent that lets you reach into the gates so that you can come to heaven. Remember that? Remember that? So the labors also represented the opposing vaginal lips, and the lightning right in between the two vaginal lips is the spark of illumination, the lightning bolt, the spark of illumination that comes from entering into the serpent's mouth. Anyway, I don't know if it was as deep for y'all as it was for me, but I was up in here having a whole moment about these axes. And so if y'all need y'all still some labors earrings, go on my Etsy page, because I got some red and white labors earrings of the goddess, you feel me, on my Etsy store. Anyway, I will continue. But the reason I read this part the other day was because she mentioned about the talismans, and we had just made these talismans, and people were like, well, why did you choose talismans over amulets? And I was like, because we do not need to be in that mind state no more. We don't need to be in a mind state of protection. We need to be in a mind state of attraction. You feel me? The talisman, for those of you who didn't catch the workshop, it's not only about attraction, it is about empowerment. It's about empowerment. The assumption in my mind, now this is my personal interpretation. You too can have a personal and peculiar interpretation of your use of these magical instruments. For me, and the energy that I went up into that workshop teaching on the eve of Pluto going retrograde in Aquarius was on some straight goddess, warrior, gangster shit. Bitch, I'm already protected. I don't need no protective amulets. I'm already protected. I'm already powered the fuck up and down. Now I got to get up out here and get to action, get to work. This is the whole purpose of the talisman. The talisman, this is a talisman. You see this talisman? You see this talisman right here? The first bird I ever processed, you see them talons on there, where this ceremonial object is a warrior's object when she need to be a warrior. You feel me? Let somebody try me while I'm cute and dressed down with my cleavage out and gonna be on some bullshit, and they don't even know I got talons on my neck. You feel me? Or whatever. But that's the energy that we need to be in, especially women. Especially women. Because we have literally been brainwashed through images on these institutions to internalize victimhood, to internalize waiting or expecting through our screams or our yells or our begs or our tears for someone to rescue us, instead of tapping into and letting lead our natural inclination to defend our space, our life, and our personhood, even if it means death. That's any creature on earth. That's why I got on that whole fight or flight thing. We ain't doing neither. We're not leaving our spaces. We ain't leaving our jobs. We ain't fighting our boss. You feel me? So you ain't making no response to these aggressions that keep coming onto you, keep coming down on you, keep coming down on you every day. And you do not have an equal and opposite response to the stimuli that is literally terrorizing you into submission. And then everybody on here who call themselves a healer, they motherfucking answer. They solution for a shock and awe campaign, literally meant to terrorize you into submission, is to fucking go on a retreat, is to stay at home by yourself, is to turn in and do some shadow work. Anyway, somebody on here gonna be like, this bitch is a whole asshole. She is a whole asshole. In traditional Chinese medicine, in most Asian, not even just the medicine, in Asian culture, if you're specializing in any of the ancient traditions, if you want to learn Kung Fu, if you want to master the martial arts, whatever that is, you feel me? If you want to be a healer, if you want to be a doctor or whatever, they tell you that as a healer, you have to master both the art of healing and what you have to internalize through action, what it is to heal and what it is to kill. You have to know both. Ask me if I learned that in medical school. You have to know both. You have to know what it is to take someone's life. Now, I ain't done that yet, but you have to know at least how to take someone's life and how to preserve someone's life to be an adequate healer. To be a martial artist, you have to know both. That's a regular, standard, even unquestioned aspect of those types of trainings. You understand? There's no shame or guilt attached to even learning offensive fighting. So a lot of people are like, because that's what I started with my daughter when Morgan was, I had Morgan in martial arts, and I started with defensive martial arts. I started with, oh fuck, what was it? It was, oh my God, what is wrong with my head? It was, damn, what's the main self-defense martial arts? Taekwondo. So she started, I think Morgan was maybe 8 when she started Taekwondo. And, you know, that's cute. But Taekwondo is defined by the fact that it is strictly defensive, right? Somebody tries you, then you use their aggression against them to defend yourself. That's all it is. Taekwondo is purely defensive. And I was like, this cute. And she took lessons with her master for about a year. I was like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't, it's cool, but this ain't it. And then I found, actually, he gave me contact to a friend of his. They were both Iranian, Persian. And his other homie, that is not the shit he was on. Straight up, hardcore, in the ring from day one. Day one, my baby had to get in the ring. Day one, my baby had to get in the ring. And it was all mixed martial arts, like competitive style, mixed martial arts. My daughter was one girl out of 16 boys in that class, and my baby was up in there kicking ass and taking names. Kicking ass and taking. I used to be so hype in there. I just wanted my baby to be a professional mixed martial artist, famous MMA fighter, but still cute and girl. Cause she cute. She cute, my baby. You feel me? But child in that cheerleader, she entered high school and it was all around. She was like, I don't want to do this shit no more. I want to be a cheerleader. I was like, no, anything but a cheerleader. No. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it was jujitsu. It was jujitsu, Krav Maga, Thai boxing, and it was one more, but there was 4 styles that he focused in. Man, watching my baby, my little girl kick them little boys' butts. Oh, that shit was so wonderful. That shit gave me life. I'm like, that's my baby. She did that. I'm trying to compose myself in the corner every time she get her shots off. I was like, oh my, that shit was the most fun. That shit was the most fun. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I don't even know how I got up on that. But anyway, so she says, yeah, so let me keep reading. Okay, so the girls, that's how I got off on that whole thing was the talismans. Oh yeah, the talismans is that's how I got on. So there a lot of people are really kind of offended, especially with women. I don't think with men it's not even a second thought, right? The difference between offensive training and defensive training, right? We hear it all the time. Basketball, football, whatever is a non-issue. It's not even something worth like taking a second look at. Offensive training versus defensive training. When I decided that I wanted my daughter to have a more aggressive toolbox to use in her self-preservation skills training, I was like, that. Thank you, Master Sharon. This has been wonderful, a very great foundation, but we're going to take this over here where she can learn how to destroy some shit if she need to. You feel me? She can destroy some shit if she need to. You feel me? So I'm saying we have been retreating for a very long time. And even when I said, yeah, last week, maybe I'm going to read The Art of War to y'all. It's a really easy, very short read. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to read The Art of War to you guys up on here. Yeah, I think I'm going to read that. Even the Tao Te Ching, y'all could really gang some shit from a read of the Tao Te Ching. You really could, because again, when I started out a couple hours ago talking about, I don't condone violence, but type of bullshit, there's been a number done on your brain. It has been so efficient. It's really quite wickedly genius that how effective and ingenious the number on your brain has been. It's something that I am certain we will study for hundreds of years to come, how this happened, this thing that we're experiencing and cannot give no voice to. How we have been crippled into not preserving our existence. It has been so effective because it has actually been woven into like cultural, artistic spaces. It's so deep. It's so deep. And I feel like if my approach is to talk to you about it through the lens of a scientist, through the lens of a medical professional, through the lens of an Eastern esoteric idea about health and wellness, that you might be able to understand it more clearly and receive it better. Let's see. Okay, so talismans, thunder axes, etc., thereby defeating the source of their enormous military might. The source of their might was the Amazons, who taught them everything, both militarily and spiritually. They gonna take the juice and then turn around and betray their masters, their teachers, their mentors, their partners. You understand? Once conquered and destroyed, these men were hailed as heroes. Such was the case when Theseus killed the sacred minotaur of the queen goddess, the bull, right? Theseus kills the sacred minotaur of the queen goddess, and when Hercules stole the sacred ancestral girdle of the Amazonian queen, Hip, Hip, Hippolyte, weakening her and then slaughtering her and her entire family. Over time, the Amazons were eventually defeated worldwide and erased from the annals of world history, or relegated to a Greek mythology, their African identity and great history forever concealed. However, centuries later, in a daring act by West African Dahomey King Adagja from 1708 to 1732, a garrison of the Amazons was restored, an unprecedented move in which they served a patriarchal ruler rather than their queen mothers. The entire history of the Black Amazons and the immense role they played in developing African spiritual history, culture, and military expansion throughout the ancient world is beyond the scope of this book and could easily take volumes. Their story is yet to be completely told. So yeah, that's what I wanted to read from there. I am going to reread this book to you guys. Because even in the rereading, a lot of people are I told you that book, The Sibyls and The Great Cosmic Mother, are still the two books that draw today continuously the most people to this channel. And just going back, because every time somebody comments, I go back and I watch. And there was a lot of just terrible, technological douchebaggery when I was using StreamYard exclusively to do my my lives. Okay. So I talked to y'all about all of that. Cool. I'll type that out tomorrow and send that out to you guys. This deep dive on the Leos. That shit was crazy. The history of Leo popes. That shit was really wild. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, I think I can hold off on that. Yep, this is my little deep dive on the labors. Oh, and what was the relationship? It was I think I'm on the brink. It's 1:14. Yeah, I think I might be wrapping this up. There's still so much I wanted to tell you guys. You know what? I'm gonna stay for a little bit because I do have to tell y'all this. I can't not share this with you, okay? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's so much. Okay, so I'll put those up. Let's see. I got notes in like 4 different books, transforming, blah, 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 blah. That I can bypass. Okay, but all right, there's one more thing, and then I'm gonna let y'all go on about y'all life. Did y'all know that the word myth does not mean not true or fable or it doesn't. Word myth means speech, thought, word, discourse, conversation, story, saga, anything that is delivered by word of mouth. Quote, myths are stories about divine beings that are generally revered as true and sacred. They are enclosed by enclosed by rulers and priests and closely linked to religion. Then it went on to say, I didn't write it all down, but it went on to say it was not until later society that they were dissected and reduced, that these divine beings called myths, or these divine beings, these divines that the myths were told about, were split by the patriarchy, reduced, and turned into fables about fairies and dragons and gnomes and ogres and shit. Oh my! Now this is according to Webster's dictionary or some shit. Yep. Mm-hmm. So myth does not mean make believe. Okay. Anyway, so there was a lot in here. I don't think I'm gonna cover half of it. Oh, I am gonna cover some. Girl, what you want? You want the book I need. So Pluto's in retrograde, right? And you know that the symbol for retrograde is the same symbol for prescription. It's the capital R with an extended leg to look like an X. It's RX, but it's a capital R with a little extended leg for the X, right? So the same symbol that is used, especially if you look at a chart, you'll see the planetary symbol or the sign symbol, and then next to it, if it's in retrograde, you'll see a little R and a little X. Okay. So I was like, damn, that's fascinating. Why they do that? Why they do that? What, girl, stop. Why they do that? Why is the same symbol used for a prescription and the retrograde sign when a planet is in retrograde? So I see y'all laughing at me and shit. Hold on. Where did I write that down? Because I wrote it right before I got on the call. Don't be nudging me. Ew, get up off me. Girl. What book I wrote that in? Oh, here it is right here. Okay. So, the RX for prescription, the Latin word for this symbol, let's see, the Latin word for this symbol is actually recipe, meaning to take. So when they write you a prescription, the drug is a recipe that means to take. Okay? All right. So you got that as one meaning. The reason they chose this symbol is because this symbol was a representation of the Roman god Jupiter, who one of his attributes is that he heals disease. So this was seen as a recipe of Jupiter to ensure your healing if you take it. You feel me? I was like, oh shit. Okay. The practitioner that would issue the prescription, it is said that imbibed energetically in the prescription would be a prayer to the god Jupiter. A prayer to Jupiter imbibed by the practitioner, the doctor, the healer, whatever, to empower the potion. You feel me? I was like, oh shit. Do you know this is how I got on this shit in the first place? Do you know how this came to be? Them using the symbol of Jupiter for in the healing arts in ancient Rome. The same emperor I talked to y'all about all the way back, Emperor Nero, was the one who implemented the use of the RX as the universal symbol of the healing energy of Jupiter in this field with these potions or quote recipes that were prescribed. The same Emperor Nero I talked about when we was talking about Rome is burning, you feel me? And he sat up on the rooftop playing his little fiddle, you feel me? While the city was burning. That's that. Okay. I was like, oh my God. But then, because Rome is relatively new in history. Oh, the other thing, I think I told y'all this. Emperor Nero, this Emperor Nero is considered the first ever Antichrist. Okay. Fast forward. Rome was relatively new on the scene. And so while they say that the R with the little X, you feel me, is about the god Jupiter, that in pre-Roman practice of medicine, aka Kemet, aka Egypt, that symbol stolen by the Romans and the Greeks to be used by the healers actually came from the story about Horus, and that symbol, the RX that we use for retrograde and for prescriptions, comes from Horus, aka Ra, comes from Horus, the I, and then you see how this would look like, right? And shit, and R with a little extended leg, right? A R with a little extended leg. And the reason is because that story of the meaning behind this eye, the eye of Ra, right, is because when Horus was fighting Set pulled his eye out, removed his eye. You feel me? And then somebody else, I don't remember who, came back and healed his eye, plopped his eyeball back in and healed it. And this is the story behind the protective power of the Eye of Ra. Okay? The protective and healing power of the Eye of Ra. So Set, quote, bad guy, pulled his eye out, and then the other person came behind, Thought, that's who it was. Thought came back, picked the nigga eye up, and bloop, popped it back in his head and put his hand over it and healed it. You feel me? Yes. Okay. And so, oh shoot, I guess I thought I wrote it down. But damn, I thought I wrote that down. I didn't write that down. Why I didn't do that? Oh, I did. Hold on, I did. Okay. So now when you think about retrograde in astrology, so this is healing. Okay. This is remedy. Okay. This this symbol is a symbol of a remedy, a resolution to an issue, a disharmony, an issue. You feel me? Now, fast forward into the astrological retrograde known as Pluto that we in right now. According to certain etymologies, retrograde, its general meaning within astrology is returning to older and worse conditions. I was up in here floored. It literally means a returning to older and worse conditions. Okay? I was like, that's why we see in the shock and awe campaign right now. getting you comfortable with being thrust back into a historical age of barbarism and shit, getting you acclimated through your constantly triggered fight or flight to get you acclimated to terror campaigns and shit. Retrograde, a returning to older and worse conditions than you already the fuck up in. All right. However, the etymology of retrograde says that it can either be a reversal of what is a current energy or the inverse of that energy. Y'all follow me? It can be one of two things: a reversal of the quote older and worse conditions, or an inverse of that. Do you hear me? Are y'all following? Y'all peeping the technique right now? Y'all up in the room? I know it's late. I know it's past y'all bedtime. Okay. And inverse. What have I been saying since day one? In every scenario, in every situation, in every period in human history, there are always two potential extremes in terms of these energetic movements. There's always, it's like the pendulum. When I was talking about centers and the pendulum tit, and it represents an extreme, one way or the other. This is how the pendulum moves. The pendulum don't move all over the pendulum, just like this. Whoop, 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 right? But it is the external extenuating circumstances that determine which extreme is going to be enacted at these moments. So they bury your last pope this week at the mouth of this Pluto in retrograde. You feel me? Inaugurate, if you will, your next pope, who y'all heartstrings is plucked the fuck out of, because he might be Negro adjacent. You feel me? And I don't know what in your consciousness what this means to you, but because he possibly may be Negro adjacent, you feel me? And he by proxy from Haiti too. You feel me? He must be a revolutionary. John could not roll my eyes hard enough at that bullshit, but I'm just saying, this period represents the potential of two extremes, and our adversary, who is the author of all confusion, has been at work on your ass. Grand delusions. You feel, not only grand delusions, delusions of grandeur. Ain't that better, bitch? Grand delusions and delusions of grandeur. And you need to kick the week off with that dumb ass shit. Because I'm telling you, what you're witnessing right now is some straight up false flag ass operational sleight of hand shit. That don't mean that we cannot revel in the symbolism. Because I was like, let's go. Plantation burnt to the ground in Louisiana. More of that, please. You feel me? Oh, okay. Some divine retribution in the Middle East. Let's go. They cannot afford for it to be a quote freak of nature wildfire. So what did they start doing? Switching up the language around campaign. False flag ass operational shit. Even if it started off as a natural disaster or a natural phenomenon, they're like, look, we under public scrutiny. Don't nobody in the world like us no more because we done revealed too much of ourselves too fast. Let's see if we can use this opportunity to galvanize ourselves some sympathy. Let's see if we can utilize this shit to galvanize ourselves some sympathy. Feel me? Anyway, so I thought that was really fascinating because this thing says it could be the reversed or the inverse. The inverse implies revolutionary, evolutionary, metamorphical transformation. The inverse is motherfucking progress. The inverse is what? The advance. You feel me? The inverse is what? Moving forward in a purposeful way. Taking progressive action to set yourself above the others. An advance is a step made by people who are innovators. What did it say? Innovators and creators of a new period. That's the inverse. So I'm always talking to you about forever from this point on, seeing the astrological anomalies that are raining down on us like pennies from heaven, child, like gold nuggets falling in our lap from the sky. If we can recognize that the first thing, this should say the inverse. This should say the inverse. What am I always telling you? When I became a Black nationalist at 24 years old, there was so much information coming into my head, challenging my old beliefs. I was like, how I didn't know this? How I didn't know this? How ain't nobody tell? I was like bombarded with new information. And I had just gotten to a point in my overwhelm of this information. I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna do it like this no more. I'm gonna keep it simple. Whatever the white people done said, just on GP, I'm gonna just take the extreme opposite position, and I'll probably be better off without having to do all this deep ass stuff. Let me just stay right now. From here on out, whatever the white men say, I'm automatically taking the opposition. They say this dude over here bad, I'm saying he probably the good guy. Let me figure out what he done did to piss the white people off, because I need to know why I need to take his side. If he the villain to the white people, he the good guy. He is the protagonist in the story. And if you start off with that, if the white people say it's day outside, you probably need to go look out your curtain, because the moon probably gonna be out. You just take the extreme opposing position. That's your starting point. Your ass gonna be better. You probably gonna be right 90% of the time. Now I'm saying this shit about patriarchy. Whatever patriarchy says, whatever history patriarchy has written, whatever thing patriarchy has said, assume the extreme opposite, and your ass is gonna be right 100% of the time. That's what these deep dives have been doing to me. Just when you think you can't learn no more, the mother springs some other shit on your ass that you could not have even fathomed in your imagination. And now it's happening so much and so fast and so back to back, that when I tell you there is nothing they have written, there is nothing that they do, there's no profession they have made that is not only connected to, but is an outright they don't even change the shape, the color, the size, an outright, absolute, word for word plagiarism of the mother's language, of the mother's life, of the mother's skills, of the mother's magic, of the mother's story. Not a single story they done told. Not a single story they done told that is their own. When I tell you not one, this shit is blown. But that shit I dropped on y'all last week about why Jesus is called holy, because he had to steal the mother's language. It was always the mother that was called holy because of her holy hole. Her holy hole that sheds blood without no wound. Her holy hole through which the rivers of life flow, whether it is in childbirth or in orgasmic ecstasy. The lady of the lake, she who leaks from her holy hole. Well, how a man gonna call himself holy if he ain't got no holy holes? So the men folks say, I got a solution for that. You feel me? He got to be the extreme opposite of the mother anyway. So if the mother represents life, he got to represent death. You feel me? He got to represent death. And since he got to represent death anyway, I got it. We going to tell this gruesome story about how we had to hike his ass up on the motherfucking cross and take big old giant iron stakes and drive him through his wrist and drive him through his feet. Now he too becomes holy. Literally holy. Now he got holy holes. Oh, y'all think I'm lying. What is one of the great evidences that a person is, quote, truly divine in their life? Stigmata. What is the first and most sanctified presentation of stigmata? Holy holes in their hands and feet. Holy holes. When I say this shit butt naked, like they didn't even have enough creative spirit to change the story a little bit. Like, let me just tell a revised version of the story, like kind of sort of, so it may feel a little familiar, but don't look like straight up abject plagiarism and shit. They're like, nope, that's too much work. We'll just write it word for word, and wherever it says she, we'll just put he, and there you go. That's literally what they did. There's literally, there ain't a story that exists where that is not what the fuck they did. Word for word, color for color, image for image, symbol for symbol. They didn't change a motherfucking thing. Just the he, the she, the he. Just took the S off the front. Because the S make it too close to seeing anyway. We don't want that S on it anyway. It's the holy he, not the holy she. This shit, wow, yo. It would be comical if there was not so much fucking blood attached to it. Boy. Ooh, you doing too much. Why you doing that? What you want with me? You're doing too much. Needy ass baby. What you want? You ain't getting no kisses. What you want? You squishy butt. You gotta go. You impeding progress, boy. Go about your life. I want some ice cream. So let's see. There's something out of here I was gonna read to you today. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Let us see. Let us see what Barbara Walker got to say. Women's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects on page 210, right here. You feel me? Move. Right here. See that little symbol I was just reading to y'all about? See that right there? The little retrograde right there with that little thing on there right there? See that? There you go. Barbara Walker got something to say. Get down. Barbara Walker got something to say about that. Now, according to Barbara Walker in 1983, when she wrote this book, I think it was 83. I think this one might have been in the 70s. Yeah, 80. No. 88. So in this book here, Symbols and Sacred Objects, you feel me? What she got to say about this? The name of the symbol. So I went online to Google the etymology of this little symbol, right? She say, there I told you what it say. But here in 1988, she said the actual name of the symbol that represents Jupiter is King of Kings. Sound familiar? That's the name of the symbol, King of Kings. Oh my God. Our common sign for a medical prescription came from a Latin shorthand invocation of Jupiter as King of Heaven or the King of Kings. Jupiter Rex, RX, Jupiter Rex, who was thought able to cure all diseases. Therefore, the sign RX became a healing charm in and of itself. Some authorities maintained, however, that the true healing King of Kings was not Jupiter, but his dark underground counterpart, Saturn, my mother. Okay, my mother, right, is Capricorn. Capricorn is my moon. You feel me? Perhaps, here you got that twin energy again, okay? Perhaps on the theory that the healing must come not from above, but from within, as the earth's healing waters come from deep springs. Thank you for the donation. Always good to see you, Rhonda Ray Lewis. Get off me. You doing too much. Often it was believed that the prescription charm RX or any other medical invocation should be written on paper that was then swallowed by the patient. Crude healing magic, as simplistic as this, is not unknown even today in our supposedly enlightened age. That's what she got to say about that. Mm-hmm. Yep, there's the double axe again. Okay. Okay, let's see what else I've marked up here to read to y'all tonight. I guess I'm gonna have to come. You know what? Let me get my life right. Ooh, let me talk to y'all. So, as I knew I was being ambitious, so I'll read this other stuff maybe tomorrow. So let me put that away, and then this last book. Okay. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, so this is just some notes about events that are coming up this month that we need to be watchful for. Obviously, we know that the big event is on this Tuesday at on the 20th. I took about 10 pages worth of notes on the astrology just for this week. Okay. So some of the big things that were coming up while I was doing this deep dive on the astrology for the week. So I talked to y'all a lot about the energy that this is unfolding in. We're entering into Gemini season from Taurus season, but also the whole summer, quite the whole summer season, right, is the heart, the emperor. This is the Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius also this September. This Saturn Neptune conjunction. And so some of my takeaways, these are my personal takeaways based on what everybody was talking about, was this energy, especially the Pluto, actually both things, the Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and also the Saturn Neptune conjunction are both about the potentials of quick occurring radical revelations based on the signs, the whole idea of, like, quote, the materialization of spirituality. So the story that I told you about the 3 kids in 1917 during Saturn Neptune conjunction who saw Lady of Fatima in the sky, and this became a cornerstone of Roman Catholic mythology, was these kids receiving this divine vision from Mary, this and this and this and this, right? They call it the materialization of spirituality, right? Where spirit in the material world meet, okay? And then also, like, kind of extreme potentials either way based on how we show up, right? Based on how we show up, the potential for these extremes can go either way. So while you have this magical thing, the Fatima thing with the kids and the vision and all of that, and then on the same day, the sun appearing 3 times its size and dancing in the sky, and thousands of people see it. That's like also spiritual, deep, oh my God shit, right? And the other extreme in that same year was our entry as the United States into the First World War. So these extremes that can be present in these kind of energies that we're walking the fuck up into. And the thing that came to me last night while I'm trying to finish making these journals was because the other thing that is a potential that they talked about a lot of astrologers talked about this, is like there is a potential for there to be like a huge amount of spiritual despair. And one of the guys from an astrology report, he really specified that There are going to be, again, these radical revelations, and these revelations are going to be so undeniable that people, he specified, people who are religious, he called them normies, people who are in, quote, normal religious traditions, these revelations may have a widespread impact on, quote, normies, because it is going to challenge everything they've ever believed. And this is going to send them into a state of crisis or despair. So I thought it was really fascinating when he said last night, those of you who've already been doing this work, those of you who are already ahead of the curve and trying to understand like what's the period that we have entered into and what it means, like be tender and understanding enough to embrace, quote, your normie friends, those friends who haven't been peeping the technique, who ain't been on the same curve as you. Don't be judgmental. Be prepared to embrace them, because this shit will really, the revelations that are coming will really have the potential, really have the potential to cause them because you are telling somebody that, and I've talked to y'all about this before, you are telling somebody that everything that is the foundation of what they have believed their whole life is untrue. And now there is a, quote, materialization of spirituality that affirms what your ass has been trying to tell them all along. Something's going to happen on a grand scale that is going to shake them to their core, literally dismantle their foundation from under them. That is not going to be a, quote, individual personal thing that happens. It is going to be like them witnessing the dancing sun in the sky, thousands and thousands of people who witness this thing in real time that challenges everything that they've ever believed spiritually, quote, religiously. He said, I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be peculiar to those who are in these religions like Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. He specified. And I was like, damn, that's deep, because I've been talking about that for a lot, but in a different way. I had been saying, as a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, that I was like in here on one, and I still didn't confess what I was intending to confess, but I was like, the world, as we know it in general, has no problem, don't even question it, that when Noah, you feel me, got this divine message from God and was like, God was like, yo, nigga, I know you live in the desert and shit, but I'm gonna need you to build a boat. And he was like, I need you to build a boat so big that you can rescue animals in that bitch. And just take it on the strength, just take it on faith. And so this nigga got up, appearing crazy to everybody around him, his homies and everybody, by building a giant ass boat in the middle of the desert. And then loading animals 2 by 2 into the boat. And y'all don't have no question. Y'all don't question that this could happen, that somebody could be divinely inspired, divinely called to task, you feel me, to do X, Y, and Z. When Moses, who was born, fortunately, was rescued into wealth and what we would call the aristocracy and what we would call the noble, right? He was rescued from his destiny. And then one day, God was like, yo, listen, I'm tired of seeing that Negro clock my peoples over the head with a club to build some pyramids. So what I'm gonna need you to do is, see that stick right there on the ground? I'm gonna need you to pick that up, and I'm gonna pour some of my holy juice in it. You feel me? And you gonna execute miracles in my name with this here stick. You feel me? Just take it on the strength. Just take it on. You don't need no evidence. Just take it on the strength. You do not need to see with your own eyes. Just take it on the strength. You feel me? Y'all ain't have no problem with that story. And you can name the patriarchs and they all have a version of the story. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because a few weeks ago, I was really feeling this bigness that I couldn't clearly articulate. I still can't clearly articulate it, but it was a bigness. It felt like this bigness. That's all I can. This bigness welling up inside me, this massive something. And I started thinking about the patriarchs of the age, the patriarchs of these religions, and how all of them received divine providence. And it's so interesting how their stories are so alike. They don't nobody know them when they come on the scene. Abraham was 75 years old when he got his divine providence. When Yahweh whispered in his ear, it's like, leave your life behind. I know you like worshiping goddesses, because Abraham was polytheistic. He worshiped goddesses. You feel me? I know you out here worshiping goddesses and getting your swerve on, and you rich, you feel me? And you done lived a righteous old life. But I'm gonna need you to leave everything behind and go to this place you ain't never been and post up and start converting people, because I'm gonna build a great nation in your name. I'm gonna do that. You feel me? And he didn't have any evidence. He didn't have a cultural frame of reference for what he was experiencing. He didn't have any traditions or rituals to bring with him into this new thing that he was charged by some invisible voice to create. He didn't have shit because he gave it all up. He was like, I don't know. I just feel it so deep within me. I got to trust it. You feel me? And I was thinking about these patriarchs and I talked to y'all a few weeks ago about the similarities between our patriarchs and these new cult leaders, right? Or the cult leaders of like the last 150 years, and how similar their stories are, how extraordinarily similar their stories are, that they are at their best when they emerge as these cult leaders, at their absolute best, 10 levels below mediocre. And because they enter the space with penises, and because they say they got divine providence, nobody questions it. This is what God said. This is what I'm going to need y'all to do because God said that. You feel me? And whatever. And how there is never a shortage of, quote, providentially inspired men who emerge from the fuck up under a rock somewhere and build a flimsy institution, and people support it. And the thing that got me stuck was for women. That if you, right now today, like myself, receive providence, become what you know is undeniably divinely I don't want to say called. There's a word I was looking for. Anyway, divinely inspired. Will you trust it? That's what I was getting to. In these divine revelations that he talked about that are going to be happening until like October, in terms of the spirit, the materialization of spirituality that is going to come down, based on the quote shadow work or the inner work or the trauma work or whatever it is your bag is to help you heal yourself, right? This perpetual healing journey that you own. Will you trust what you see with your eyes? How deep is your commitment to your divinely ordained destiny in this life, your fate in this life? Will you trust that when it comes to you? Because it will. People are going to be handed their fate in real time. And fate is not a bad word. Destiny, fate, whatever. When people receive down the divine providence that reveals to them for the first time in their life that this is your destiny and why you incarnated, will you accept it and believe it with the audacious confidence that these patriarchs had with no, all they had to just take it on faith. That's all they had. Just take it on faith. Right? Not only that, will, because it will happen, it has happened if you have me tell it, but will you have the same kind of acceptance for someone who is divinely moved, who is constantly receiving divine providence, right? Seeing the evidence of it everywhere and showing it to you regularly? Will you have the same unquestioned belief, acceptance with certainty of if that divinely inspired, quote, prophet happened to have incarnated in the body of a big, fat, black, jelly belly, nappy haired, tattoo faced black bitch who cuss a lot? Will you believe with the same kind of conviction that you did when your ass was a Christian that the savior of the world is going to come in the body of black bitches? that's the only thing y'all got, right? That I'm laughing and I am being my comedic self while at the same time being deadly serious. Deadly, deadly, deadly serious. That the crisis that is a potential represented by these four planets in over the next few months, while you indoors with the blinds drawn talking about doing motherfucking shadow work and shit, and everything in your spirit is saying to rage out, and that makes you uncomfortable because you don't even know what that means because of your conditioning through respectability politics that done literally siphoned your essence, that has squished your internal giant. Will you accept and believe when the revelation of your own fate appears? Or you say, just that's just my imagination. Your fate comes to you and tells you. Your muse comes to you and tells you. I know it's not going to make sense to you right now, but just trust it. That all you have to do is fulfill your deepest heart's desire. And that is the role that you must play. Your peculiar personification of the mother's divine will. That's your peculiar mission to fill. And this is the contribution that you're going to make to the new world. Don't worry about protests. Don't worry about this, that, and the other. Go outside and dance like your life depended on it. And know that in this action that you take in opposition to the despair you have been trained to accept as a normal part of life in existence, and that this mildly rebellious act will free many. Will you trust that voice and accept the assignment? Another thing that came through in this little wormhole was I just mentioned it a few minutes ago, delusions of grandeur versus divine revelation of grand proportion. You heard me? Delusions of grandeur versus divine revelations of grand proportions. I'm going to tell you why I said that, because I've been guilty of this. It's tied to what I just talked to you about. That we women in particular, not exclusively, but we women in particular, frequently reject that call when it comes. We reject it under the auspice and through our conditioning of, who am I to think I can do something that big? It's just my imagination. I don't know where that came from, chat. That shit crazy. I can't do that. You feel me? this walking back of our own personal power, fearful of leaping both feet first into it, right? How I have been guilty of this so hard. That's why I study so deeply the history of cults, as having been involved in technically 3. You feel me? In technically 3. When I say technically, I mean tech, even though they quote weren't identified as cults, textbook, point for point presentation of obey, watch for these 10 signs to know if your ass in a fucking cult. And I can mark maybe half to a quarter, to 3/4 of them. You feel me? And so when I finally, and it took a long time from the time that I received this divine intervention from the mother that I needed to create a cult, right? Which was years and years ago. Me and my daughter even used to joke about it. Morgan be like, "Mom, when you gonna start that cult you always talking about?" I'll be like, "Girl, I don't know, but you'll be the first one to know." You know what I'm saying? And always trying to diminish the significance of what I heard in ceremony, like play it off, right? Like see how people will react if I quote jokingly see this and this and this and this, right? And once I finally took the leap to create the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, I have still been confronted with this thing about because one of the textbook quote things to look for. Damn, my battery is dying. One of these textbook things to look for to know if a person is a cult leader is probably one of the very first things is delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur, right? Constantly looking for the quote FBI, CIA, psychological bullet points that would tell me, no, bitch, you actually crazy. That it's not that you are, quote, rejecting or denying your call, is that your ass is the descendant of a long line of diagnosed schizophrenics, and it just means you too are fucking crazy. That's all. That's what you experiencing. Girl, this ain't providence. This ain't divine intervention. Nope, you too are fucking crazy, right? Because again, probably the most textbook indicator that you too might be the victim of a cult is the main person that is hiding your shit, is he suffering in his mediocrity from delusions of grandeur. You feel me? And I'll be like, damn, is this me? Is this really my call? Or do I just need to get out here and get a real job type of shit? You feel me? Like, do I need to get out here and do some basic shit and live a basic life and pay my basic bills? Right? And I know that I am not the only person that is having this experience where the mother is perpetually handing your ass to you, whether that be in your dreams or waking revelations. But I know I'm not the only one out this motherfucker having the experience that I'm having every single day. It's just like another layer comes off. And with that layer being removed, breakthrough. Like, oh my God, every day, right? Me too, sis. I feel called to build a city built and ran by Black American women. I second that emotion. I second that emotion. Yes, I do. You feel me? And being confronted with this embedded not only an embedded frequency, but I'm telling you, I have a sneaking suspicion that so much of what we have witnessed, especially in the advent of like television, like media, I have a sneaking suspicion that they plant certain ideas and images and sounds into these apparatuses that talk us back. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, they will give you the language to use when you are receiving the mother's call. Those things that have been embedded in you will begin to walk you back. No, I'm just tripping. Yeah. So anyway, I ain't gonna get that deep, but I'm all of that to say that one, will you accept and believe when the revelation of your fate appears? Will you receive it? Will you acknowledge it? Will you move without question like the grand patriarchs of your Christian, Torah, Islam books that are meant to guilt and shame you about? If they could do it, why can't you do it? Why can't you be as disciplined as the great patriarchs? If they could do it, why can't you do it? You feel me? That we don't live in the age of miracles no more because we ain't as divine as the grand patriarchs. That's why we can't see nobody part the Red Sea no more, because we ain't like them. We ain't got the discipline that they had. We ain't got the clear line of communication like they had. That's why we don't see no miracles no more. It's because of us. It's because of our flaws and our inherent weaknesses, and we don't have enough faith. We don't have the same kind of faith that the great grand patriarchs had. That's why there ain't no miracles no more. That's why niggas can't be splitting the Red Sea no more. Chanting down the walls of Jericho no more. You feel me? Yeah. And so that is not something that I claim anymore. I fully, audaciously, enthusiastically, ecstatically accept and am so grateful for being the me that I am, that as the me that I am the divine, the peculiar divine expression of my mother's will made real. I that in and of itself, the being able to unflinchingly, confidently accept that my mother and I are one, and if I am she and she is me, it means, bitch, I am, what do they call it? The master of the universe. I'm the master of the universe as my peculiar expression of the mother's will as a divine and material force. That my flesh is just as important as my spirit and soul. That my flesh is the manifestation of God on earth, just as much as my spirit and my soul. That my flesh too is divine, is magical, is an instrument for the use by the mother in the expression in a myriad of different ways of her fucking will. If I did not have this body, you could not receive what I am saying the same way. If I was not the me that I am in this very moment, you could not receive or accept what it is I'm saying to you, or what I've said for the last 4, 5 years, whenever the fuck, right? And yeah, so this is the difference. One, will you accept the call when your destiny faces off with you? When your destiny, when your face say, bitch, this me, this what you're supposed to be doing. So like, you ready? Do you need some time? You need me to come back in a few years? You feel me? But this me. This why you came here. This me right here. So what we gonna do? As masters of the universe, bitch, what we about to do? What we about to get into? You understand? How audacious can we be in this life? What are the extremes that we are willing to not only go to, but kick the doors in on once we get there to make this shit pop? Like, what is it that we're willing to do in this period? This is the energy of Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, of Saturn and Neptune, these kind of opposing energies, both emblematic of great and radical change. One representing the desolation of boundaries and borders, and one a representation for creating new boundaries, new structures, new ideas, new traditions. Will you talk yourself back because you do not recognize the difference between divine revelations of grand proportion. It's the grandness, it's the bigness that walks us back on our destiny. This too big. This can't be for me. I ain't got that kind of money. I ain't got that kind of swag. I ain't got that kind of this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You can't be talking about me, right? Divine revelations of grand proportion, and your ass walk your shit back because you think you suffering from delusions of grandeur. Being able to discern the difference when you come face to face with your fate, when you come face to face with your destiny, when it becomes so clear that it is undeniable that this is exactly the exact moment you were made to remember before you acquired the memory of why you chose this life, why you came to this particular moment. You feel me? Yeah. Assume that there are no myths. That's a big one. That came to me this week. That's why I got on the shit about the myths. Assume there are no myths. This is a little deep, and I'm gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna have to save the rest for y'all tomorrow or some shit. But this is big. This is a good one to leave y'all with. Maybe y'all dream about this shit. Assume there are no myths. This is based on, I don't know if Tajali is still up on here, but a couple months ago, Tajali and I were talking on the phone. I don't even remember specifically what about, but in the conversation, I was like, yo, I'm really trying to understand. Like, I know it's some sleight of hand shit. I know it's something sinister, but I don't have a frame of reference for explaining my discomfort with the shit. And the shit was there was a whole new string of Bart Simpson or the Simpsons predictions of future events videos when Trump got elected, right? A whole barrage of Simpsons conspiracy telling the future shit type of shit, right? And in this conversation, Tajali told me something that was so simple, but it blew my whole mind. Like when I say blew my whole mind. And what she said was that when she too was a hardcore Christian, they used to do work with this organization called Jews for Jesus. A bunch of converts who were using their Jewishness to assist in the soul winning campaign of the church. These were Jews for Jesus. And I was telling her, I need to get a copy of the Talmud or something. Like, I'm trying to figure out some shit. I can't make a breakthrough. She was like, let me tell you, there's this dude when I was young. We was in this, the church, and he was in Jews for Jesus. And he told me something I never forgot. He said, and this is what I'm getting to, that according to the Talmud tells God's chosen people, you feel me? The Talmud tells them, so this is the question that I posed when I said assume there are no myths. If the Talmud tells them that all they must do is confess beforehand what they intend to do, all they got to do is tell you beforehand what they intend to do, and it is absolved, automatically forgiven, absolved, right? And if they control the apparatuses of imagination, song, fairy tales, images, movie, book, film, you feel me? If they control all the apparatuses of imagination, how do you interpret everything, then assume everything is a true, well thought out plan, right? Hold on, let me see what I wrote in the cut. And they use these apparatuses of imagination to they use it against us, right? And the reason I got on that is I was watching I was watching The Discovery of Riches last night while I was trying to finish this order. And the scene came on where, I don't know how many of you have seen Discovery of Witches, but that scene where she goes to the past, it goes to the 16th century to find Goody, the elder, witch teacher. And she begins to learn by tying the knots of the elements to create new phenomenon. The scene is just so mind-blowing, because when she finishes this sixth knot, this tree emerges out of her fucking body. This tree literally springs up out of her body, and she's looking up into the essence of the tree, into the center of the tree. She is the tree. She is the tree that connects, quote, worlds, that connects heaven and earth, the Rowan tree. And as she's looking up as the trunk of the tree, and she's looking up into the universe, she sees galaxies through the leaves of the tree. Her ability, because she was a time weaver. Right? And the metaphor for her being a time weaver was she embodied as the tree that connect worlds, right? And I'm sitting here, and I'm so, every time I see this show, and that scene, and the scene where the master vampire recognizes her as the goddess Diana, child, I'm weeping. I'm sorry, oh, that's so beautiful, right? And the reason I stay so moved by those scenes is because I keep feeling in my body, man, this bigness that I was telling y'all about, this caged giant that is like subdued inside of each and every one of us, that if the giant were freed, right? That's why I wrote those exact words. I was like, assume there are no myths. This scene that I just saw, that every time I see it moves me to absolute audible tears. You feel me? I was like, this shit is real. This shit is real. Everything I'm seeing up on here, this shit real. I was like, assume there are no myths. This shit is real, right? And I made a little note. I need to go back and, quote, find the etymology of myths. But I was like, this shit, man, it's so deep. And then it struck me at like 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm watching this shit. I was like, well, damn, if we can watch this bullshit as Simpsons and say, look at all these accurate predictions that the Simpsons made, you feel me? Whatever. And that shit is real. And we think it's, quote, magic because it came on a cartoon. But what she told me was the Talmud says, there is no wrong that you can do if you are a Jew. If you are the descendant of God's chosen people, there is literally no wrong on earth that you can do where if you speak out loud what your intentions are, absolution is not guaranteed you. Absolution is guaranteed if you say the thing out loud that you intend to do. This is what your so-called predictions of the Simpsons are. It is a declaration about our future intentions. While we stay stuck in the past, they literally consciously are weaving the future. Literally consciously weaving the future while we stuck in the past. We stuck in the past. And we like, oh my God, how they know this in 1991? Because they wrote it, because this was a plan that they presented to you in caricature form. Right? And so now, watching this show, I was like, well, if they do that about predictions and their intentions and shit, could these things that they keep showing us about the personification of power and magic be a recollection of what they snuffed out, what they stole, what they absorbed? That this is a storytelling of what our potential is, unbowed, unbowed, unbroken, unbound. Like if these bitches ever get hit, we got to make this shit look real magical and make believey, so they don't even entertain the idea of approaching this. Right? And if they can write the future, bitch, so can we. So can we. Yeah. Those are the 3 takeaways. I'll come back on tomorrow and give y'all some more, but I'll be up in here. All right. I love you guys. My Ali is about to fall. I'm about to have to take a nap so I can get up and finish doing this shit. But yeah, I'll be up on here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'll do a live. I don't know what time tomorrow, but I'll do a live. And I'll take a few minutes to type out this conspiracy that I talked to you about tonight so I can send it out to you. So just send me an email and tell me if you want it. The email is evoemetemp@gmail.com. evoemetemp@gmail.com. And it's also the email that you can use to book your divination or to book a consultation, or that's the email that you will use to send me a PayPal if you want to do that, or a Zelle if you want to do that. evoemetemp@gmail.com is short for Evolutionary Emergence Temple. And yeah, I guess that's it for the night. So much more I wanted to say, but it's been about a week since I was up on here, so I guess I just needed to take a ride around the subject. Okay, so thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for y'all riders. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. What's up, big head? What's up, big head, baby?